puck. Is that long enough for you?
I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
With Drew Olson,
mythical, legendary figure.
Bill Schmid.
Oh, my God. This man's been out all night.
And Armen Sarian.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Sanchez, we ready?
Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin is on the air.
It's February 18th, and do you know where your special teams coordinator is? The Green Bay Packers just finding out they need one, but you don't need any new entertainment for the next 3 hours because we're huddled up with you on Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin. I'm Bill Schmid, alongside in for Drew Olson once again on this beautiful week. He is our Brewers insider. He is Hunter Baumgart joining us here from the Hunter Baumgart Show on loan, as well as Naganoed out Armen Sarian. And boys, the folks on YouTube will be able to see. Those will be able to understand, and the comments will start rolling through, I assume. We have found a new location. We have found a different spot for this show to preside. We also now have like an in-studio audience. So this thing is elevating and leveling up here as we continue on day 3 and the final day on remote into the Grapefruit League. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. In-studio audience.
Yeah, we got
about this.
We got in studio audience. My dad is hanging out over here.
That's fantastic.
Mostly running some kind of security because I am just in like a very public place. This would be like the version of the Hills coffee shop clubhouse.
Yes,
where
I know what you're talking about.
If you were able to be around with us for the 5 o'clock hour yesterday, I was evicted. I was evicted from the outside location. Mm-hmm. And while the hearing did not go down, I think we settled potentially out of court.
That's good to hear. People were wondering, Billy. A lot of questions. Yeah.
It came to my attention that was a spot that we did not want to, a tree that we did not want to bark up. Right. Like there's certain spots, there's certain individuals, certain people, like, there's, hey, people make claims, people have things to say. We just spot that and end it real quick.
So you're saying the condo kind of runs like an oligarchy. It's not a democracy, and there are some people in power that you might not want to wrestle with.
Yeah,
I understand. Like that's okay, and you understand the assignment. And you kind of avoid those kind of avenues. But I guess it's good to know now, Billy. But you are safe and sound and in a safer location. And I got to be honest, rate your backdrop. I mean, that's a 10 out of 10. You got books behind you.
It's an AJ Hawk look right there. That is the AJ Hawk look.
What kind of books we got back there? I'm sure we got a lot of interesting, is this the common space? Is there like a library where people can come down? And
so that's the thing. We're going to potentially have some visitors. There is a workout room.
That's what I'm talking about.
Workout room behind me.
You've been going to do a lot of workouts down there, I know.
Potentially going to do some, inverted push-ups over here, and there's a couple of weight benches, a treadmill. So if somebody starts rolling, we're really going to hear that. But it looks like just a James Patterson. I mean, just love fest back here. Just love fest back here. I'm stocked. I got the mic stacked up on like 3 James Patterson books. So I got a feeling he's clearly, understandably so, New York Times bestseller how many different times. But clearly he's a fan favorite here. But we're in the little clubhouse area. So this is where all the meetings go down. This is where the hearing was potentially going to go down. But again,
official,
closed it down right away and had a phenomenal day yesterday. And then all of a sudden, as we're continuing to spin through some Luis Rengifo, where we're going to hear from later on today, we've acquired that audio from spring training as he talks about feeling like the first day of school. We've got Wisconsin Sports Fanatic already asking us if the new Brewers third baseman is better than Caleb Durbin. I'm going to go hopefully get eyes on Caleb Durbin here later on today. Proof will be in the pudding. Hey, Mark Antanasio not sold. I don't know. That's going to be some fun sound to have. I enjoyed Mark Antanasio giving us a little peek behind the curtain, a peek behind the call history when the Caleb Durbin one goes down. But fellas, we'd be remiss to not start with the story that it seems like Packers fans have waited. Armen, can you check notes? I believe it was January 8th or January 9th when the Packers were eliminated from the playoffs in that game against the Chicago Bears.
I will confirm that for you, but it sounds right.
But let's be honest, it was probably January 3rd of 2024 that
January
Packers
10th.
January 10th. Okay, I was right. I was in the ballpark. Well, listen, Packers fans wanted Rich Bisaccia's ass out of here before then. They wanted it after that, and they've wanted it seemingly for the majority of his 3 seasons in Green Bay, when he was brought in as the highest paid special teams coordinator in football, he steps down last night. Very key wording and very fascinating phrasing in the conversation. But Armen, I was happy for those online that have waited for this moment, and I was glad that Aaron Nagler struck while the iron was hot on the statement of, now you can shut the heck up about it. Now it's done.
About it.
Now it has been. Now he will be he will be filled in for, and he will be replaced. Maybe not on the doing of the head coach. Clearly not on the doing of the head coach. We don't know exactly where some pressure came from, where conversations came from, but for it to happen on February 18th, and we're a week away from the scouting combine, the timing of it is far from normal, right? Like it raises questions and eyebrows when it happens after a historic 10 jobs are filled in the head coaching spot, and this entire coaching carousel seems to have wrapped up.
Yeah, I would say timing is not not ideal either because of the coaching carousel situations. You want to try and start looking at candidates for that position, and I can't imagine that the cupboard is full right now, right? Because the hiring cycle's gone. But that's what I thought of too. Is that this news is welcomed by a lot of Packer fans who didn't want him there anymore, or at least blamed him for the special teams issues, and were tired of him being the special teams coach. And the divergence of those fans being happy and everybody else, seemingly coaches and players, being sad, is one of the biggest divergences ever, because there isn't one guy, coach or player, that's seemingly doesn't love this guy. All right. Absolutely love this guy. And for fans, he was obviously the lightning rod, the receptor of the ire of so many Packers fans that were like, all right, we're just done with this guy. We're done with him, and we don't want to hear about him anymore because, and listen, I can't blame Packers fans for thinking that way, because you can logically look at it and say, look, the root of a lot of our problems has been special teams and playoff losses. And this is a special teams unit that's been in 2001, 21, 31st, 22, 26th, in 2023, 28th, 2024, 32nd, and then last year, 28th. So you're talking about the bottom 5 of the league, basically, in terms of special teams rankings. And this man was the unit responsible for it. So logic would state that, whoever's leading the unit that's been one of the worst has to go. I can't blame fans for thinking that. But no matter what coach, player, general manager it is, talk about how this is the greatest guy in the world and everyone loves him and he has such a positive impact. So the divergence of opinions on this guy, or at least the divergence of thought on how we perceive him, is truly remarkable. And I think it's fair to say he represents the unit that's been failing the team. However, I think we can also reasonably say that he didn't call for the miss to the kick play, Brandon McManus, and he didn't call for the drop the onside kick, Romeo Dobbs. So you have to be kind of judicious in how much blame to really give him. But the reality is he's gone now. And you brought the interesting question up, and I'm sure it's something we'll talk about. Whose decision was it? Because it didn't seem like the Packers' decision, based on what Matt LaFleur's always said and based on what Gutekunst has said about him, even recently in the last couple of weeks.
Well, and Hunter, I struggle to say it wasn't Rich Bisaccia's decision, right? Like when you step down, you make the decision that you don't want to do this one anymore. Now, I'm not going to say that there's obviously not reasons why you go from talking so glowingly about living in Green Bay and being the special teams coach in Green Bay and being a part of the organization to all of a sudden saying, yeah, I think I'm all good. But if you go back a couple of days, the assistant special teams coach leaves to take the Browns job. And then here today, Bisaccia is also gone. And Armen, like, you bring up a number of different, like, statistical benchmarks that they have. I mean, LaFleur's hiring his 4th special teams coordinator in 8 years. In all reality, the average, the mean, whatever special way you want to phrase, the average spot is where they've finished special teams wise in those 8 years. I'd struggle to say it's much better or worse than whatever Rich Bisaccia has brought in here. So, Hunter, as much as I understand, and I fully do, and I don't believe anything individually would call for Rich Bisaccia to get, somewhat elevated or an extension, what have you. I do struggle to wonder if this is a coach problem or more of a systemic issue that you've seen in Green Bay where special teams just hasn't been near the top of the radar for, we say 8 years while LaFleur's been here, for most of our whole lives.
It's a long time. And we kind of thought, okay, Rich Bisaccia was the hot coach on the market. We all thought, oh, wow, Rich Bisaccia is going to come in and he's going to change this thing around because he was up for head coaching jobs. He was a guy who was highly thought of around the league and still is, obviously, for what he can do to a culture. But unfortunately, he just wasn't able to take that special teams unit to where we all wanted him to take that special teams unit. And I thought this quote was interesting. When Brian Gutekunst, of course, he has his end of season presser. It came maybe a little later than we all expected this year, a few weeks after the season. But this is what Brian Gutekunst said about Rich Bisaccia just a couple of weeks ago.
Rich brings to our culture, this football team. He's a very impactful coach around here. Certainly, I thought we've been better on teams the last few years than we've been in a long time. Our cover units have been better. We got one of the best punters in the National Football League. We've got an excellent snapper. Now, I got a lot of faith in Rich and his staff, what they do around here. Not only the X's and O's and what they bring to the field, but what they bring to this place culturally is really important.
So we know Matt loves Rich Bisaccia, and from that, publicly, obviously you can't always take what a GM says at face value. We know that, right? We've heard, to go back to the Aaron Jones quote, I fully expect him to be back, or whatever that quote was. Aaron Jones isn't back. You have those types of quotes throughout years of GMs. However, that's some pretty serious praise of Rich Bisaccia and the culture. Now, you look at the numbers, as Armen just pointed out, and it's not necessarily improved as much as Gutekunst puts in that quote. So where this came from, was there pressure from somewhere? That is a conversation, but it does kind of seem like Rich, he was probably feeling it from somewhere in order for this to happen. He obviously wasn't fully happy if he stepped down at this time. I gotta think.
Well, and Hunter, you bring it up, and I don't. Everybody makes their own decisions. All of this happens in different spots, and to paint it with a broad brush, I think is unfair. But I gotta think, guys, at some particular point in time, I don't know if, as Bill Belichick would have called it, snap face, or whatever he tried to call Instagram back when he was with the New England Patriots. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what type of news consuming source Rich Bisaccia goes to, but you got to be living under a rock to not hear people calling for his job every single day. And diminishing every bit of value that he would have had to the organization. And now, I'm not saying that's the reason why. Again, none of us necessarily know. All we have are Rich Bisaccia's words that he put last night, which said, after taking some time to reflect over the last few weeks, I have made the decision to step down as the assistant head coach and special teams coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. I'm extremely grateful for Matt LaFleur, Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, and Mark Murphy for their unwavering trust and support through my time in Green Bay. I'm also thankful to the players for their consistent work and relentless effort to improve every single day. I would like to thank everyone in the organization for their dedication and commitment. The people in this building make it a special place to work. This is the most important paragraph. I want to thank our fans and the people throughout the Green Bay community for their passion and love for the team. Coaching the Green Bay Packers was truly an honor, and I will be grateful for my time here. I look forward to whatever is next for me and my family, and I wish nothing but the best for everyone in the organization. There was some belief, some thought, some conversation amongst different people around, and that, just speculate and listen to the Green Bay Packers. I think there's a lot of folks that hear and thought Rich Bisaccia was going to retire, and that he was gonna call it a day and be done in the NFL. He stated it pretty clearly right there. I'm going to coach again in the NFL. I'm just not going to coach in Green Bay again. And whether or not it was, hey, you can either step down or be fired, if that was going to be the case, we would have heard about this a month ago, guys. So there feels to me like maybe just a tick more to the story. Maybe it's not all that juicy, right? Maybe I think they would have said something if it was an extenuating circumstance.
Sure.
It leaves it open for a lot of questions, Armen, because although clear that the proof was in the pudding, the production wasn't good enough, right? It wasn't good enough for him to go and get an extension, but it probably also wasn't good enough or bad enough necessarily in their eyes for him to be fired. and for them to pay out the money that they would have had to, with him being one of the highest paid special teams coaches and assistant head coaches in football. So I wonder if there were some financial conversations of, hey, we'd love to pay you some of this cash. We know we can't do this. And how long some of these conversations have gone.
Yeah.
Because as he said, reflection over the last few weeks, then I'm assuming there's been a number of different conversations that have gone through the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's a great point. A few things I think about there. If he was thinking about stepping down or moving on, what have you, why now, right? Why didn't he do this before? Because you thought if he would have, made that decision earlier, because this is so late to make that decision. Leaves the Packers high and dry a little bit. He had to consider that. Don't know if that would be, then you can go to the thought, I'm just going to do it. Was that intentional? Did he not want to work for the Packers anymore? Did he not want to work for Matt LaFleur anymore? Did he decide that's enough? Did he say, yeah, was it a financial thing? Or did they ask him for, like, listen, we need you to maybe not make as much, or he wanted to make more and he wasn't going to do that? And he said, you know what? Everyone likes me here. I set a good culture, right? Don't you think so? Yeah.
What's
but
another
Rich,
200,000 amongst friends?
Sure.
Yeah.
Where's my raise? Rich, I'm just speculating here, right? This is all speculating. Rich, what's your impact here? Everyone talks so much about culture, which seems to be his greatest attribute, which is a real thing. It's just hard to quantify. So I think a lot of people say, well, he sets the culture great. Okay, that's awesome. What does that mean? Will says culture is a problem with the team. It's so there's a two-edged sword there. It's like, how do you look at this thing? Mm-hmm. Are you part of the problem or solution? I think it's interesting because we can all acknowledge chemistry, culture, all those kind of intangibles you need to be successful, but it's hard to quantify what makes it good, what makes it bad. A lot of questions here on this one. And I don't know why, but the thing I keep thinking back to was, did he just not want to coach for the Packers anymore? Or at least not for the Packers, but did he not want to coach under the staff anymore? And I'm not really sure. Now, maybe does he have his sights set higher on a higher type of job? We talked so much about how he was close to the Raiders job once upon a time.
Well, that's the weird. Like, I don't think he got an interview this cycle, right?
Not one interview this cycle. 100%.
Yeah, and he was, like I said, he was one of the hotter. Like, people were talking about him consistently about the culture that he could build. I know he didn't get a job, but it was at least talked about. And then for him this cycle, with, as you mentioned, Billy, all those openings that were open and no interview. I mean, that's just interesting.
And was that the indication for him? Like, look, if I want to get interviews again and I want to advance in this sense, I can't do it here while they're giving me this to work with in special teams. And therefore my rankings are so low, and therefore my reputation is this.
Yeah.
Those are all things to think about.
And I'm not going to say the Packers are giving him absolute, nuts and bolts to get screwed here on the talent, right? Sure. I mean, like you mentioned a couple of the plays, Armen. They gave McManus a 3-year contract in the offseason for a reason, right? He was one of the better kickers in football last year.
And he had been performing, right?
And they're it was a hell of a process to get to him, but it took a nice winding road to get there. And, Romeo Doubs is one of your more talented wide receivers. However, he's also one that lets you down one of the bigger spots. So, like, is there hey, man, we are giving you starters. And this is still Evan Williams is on almost every single team's, every single coverage unit.
Good point, Billy.
One of our best young players. Like, it is so. I wonder if some of those mathematics came to it. And I guess I hadn't thought of the elevation part of it, Armen, and it's a good point that he could have said, I clearly am not getting further along here in doing this with this group. But then the other part of me is wondering, damn, Rich Bisaccia is 65 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know where else you think you're. Not to try to poo-poo anyone's dreams. I want everyone to shoot for the moon and shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
But if you look at the hiring cycle this year,
right?
John Harbaugh is the only 60-plus-year-old coach, right, that gets hired, and he's got a ring on his finger for a reason. So
it's a different deal, yeah.
It's becoming more and more increasingly difficult. I would wonder if we hear about Rich Bisaccia having another move here quickly, then it's clear that there was a reason. Right. And maybe he had to step down because he'd be taking somewhat of a lateral position. Maybe he's taking an assistant head coaching position with a first time head coach where you feel like he can have more impact. Again, all speculation here, but the statements last night, and we read Rich Bisaccia's, Matt LaFleur's, along with the Green Bay Packers press release of Rich Bisaccia stepping down last night, said, while we're disappointed to lose a person and coach, as valuable as Rich, we respect his decision to step down from the Packers. Rich is a tremendous resource to me and our entire coaching staff, who had a profound impact on our players and our culture throughout the building. We cannot thank him enough for his contributions to our team over the last 4 years. We wish Rich, his wife Jeannie, and the rest of their family all the best moving forward. Again, just feels like it was a decision. Again, I don't believe anybody was blindsided by this. I think there was definitely some conversation to it, but the way it's phrased is fascinating because it clearly signals Rich Bisaccia is not done coaching. He's just done coaching for the Packers.
And that's what I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page with. Because there was a part of me that said, when he said, well, I'm excited for what's next. We all agree that doesn't mean I'm excited for what's next on a boat somewhere retired, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's grabbing one of these tables and grabbing a James Patterson book here in Fort Myers.
Which he should, because you guys are having a hell of a time. I'm down there, which you should. But yeah, because usually in that type of statement you get, I'm excited for this next stage to spend time with my family or something.
It's been great, blah years in the NFL, right?
That kind of family.
Take it all as a whole, and that statement just focuses on his time with the Packers.
Well, as you guys can imagine, a lot of reaction, a lot of comments already rolling through. People were getting up early with you for two reasons. One, to hear about what we had to say about this, and to see how Billy was doing in this latest situation with the condo. So if you checked in late, we'll have another update after the break. We'll get to a lot of your comments. We know there's a lot of reaction on this. We'll spend some time on it.
We'll get to all of it. Well, if anyone's up early enough and wants a phone call, 877-794-1973. Take them on this. Also, some Brewers conversation on a Hot Take Hump Day Wednesday. I got a couple of interesting ones queued up for you guys. A couple baseball ones, one college sports hot take, and then two food ones, and one that I think Armen's going to really, really love.
Let's go.
Which is lifestyle and travel. Because what do people love to do, Hunter, in today's day and age? No longer gripe about their health problems. Tell you about their travel problems. It's become our greatest phenomenon, Armen. We love
in that airport for 7 hours on Tuesday.
That's right. That's a great point. Airport, right?
We're sitting on the plane.
We'll get to that. That's
4 hours.
That's exactly
it. Wouldn't let us off the tarmac.
You're sitting there and you just can't. So we'll get to it. And I know at 877-794-1973, some people might add in some of theirs as well. So we'll get into Hot Take Hump Day after 6 o'clock. Scott Dolphin's here in an hour with our halftime report. But 877-794-1973. Rich Bisaccia steps down as the special teams coordinator and assistant head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Why now? What does it mean? And more importantly, are you finally happy? 877-794-1973. Packers fans, it's the Huddle. Hunter in for Drew. I'm Billy. That's Armen. It's Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Welcome back. Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin, huddled up with you on AM 920 in Milwaukee, 1070 AM in Madison. Hunter Baumgart waking up with us early here. We're going to get over the hump on a hot take hump day coming up in a few next hour. We'll hit halftime of the entire week. We'll have our halftime show with Scott Dolphin. Hunter Baumgart is in here for his third morning show in radio. And Hunter, it's nice that, the sports radio gods just drop a good story on you. Because otherwise, I thought we were going to have to break down some more curling conversation potentially on a couple of these days in the 5 o'clock hour for you, waking up really early with you. I'm glad that we got some real sports to discuss. That's good.
Yeah, that curling discussion was, I got a haircut yesterday, and that was, I'm always wondering what the conversation is going to be when I go get my haircut.
That's a
right?
great point, Hunter.
Because
that
it's
is
like
a great conversation.
Like I'm always ready. Yep. Like if the question is about, and I think I've heard you guys discuss this too.
We talked about this.
If the question is about what I do for work, are you working today? What do you got for work? And then it gets into this whole, because then there's a lot of questions that goes.
We're in unique jobs. They want to, so you realize how much do I want to talk today?
Right. So I was debating do I say, I was in on then I have to explain I was in the morning, but I'm not usually working, so that it gets into she didn't ask about the job. We just talked about curling. The curling was on.
I love that.
In the place. And so, the US was trying to go for a win in curling. And so we were talking about how much we both didn't understand curling, but we're trying to learn it. So that took up pretty much the whole haircut. It was a pretty quick haircut. Yeah. So I was glad that provided some discussion. So I was going to be ready, if need be, today to be called upon to talk curling because of my prep yesterday, getting my haircut. But yes, this is a story that is obviously much more entertaining, especially around these parts in Wisconsin.
Isn't that awesome, Armen, when practice just makes perfect and perfect preparation allows you to be ready for whatever you potentially have coming up?
Totally.
It does. And that's radio this time of year, sports radio this time of year, especially. You have to be prepared and you don't know what you're going to get. And we were given this buffet, but all of a sudden it might not have happened. So you're right. You have to be prepared. And it probably might be a good thing because really quick before we get to some of the Bisaccia reaction, we got to be careful with curling because I'm getting the sense, I don't know about you guys, that it's becoming a very polarizing issue among sports fans, the curling thing. Like I'm getting the sense that the curling fans are starting to get real defensive about people that don't want so much curling and the people that make jokes about curling. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little annoyed with the curling fans, a little bit. Like they're getting real defensive and real angry whenever you say anything about making a joke about curling at all. And it seems like whether or not curling is a sport and how good it is and how much we should be watching curling and how much curling seems to be on during the Olympics is becoming this hot button issue that is bubbling up. Maybe it's just on the internet streets, but more and more, I mean, I couldn't say, I made one shuffleboard reference about curling on Twitter and I got somebody really upset at me, coming at me in my mentions saying, I don't know anything about athletics. So maybe I should try and step on the ice.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, it was wild. So I'm a
Bears fan.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, Hunter, but I don't think so. So we got to be careful about the curling thing these days, apparently, because I think it's getting to be a little bit of a
like an alt indie fan conversation is what you're saying.
Yeah,
real possessive of their sport, and now you're coming in here trying to act like you know more than all of us, buddy. You haven't even been here. Did you know the International Curling Association actually started in 1972? I appreciate that. I do love the day one curling fans being like, "You guys don't know jack, all right." Chill out on acting like you know our sport.
And that is not call it a sport. You better call it a sport. Yes. The minute you say it's not a sport, it's going to be another thing. So
they are athletes.
But Armen, you knew what you were doing with that one. All right, let's sit down and have a conversation. You knew what you were trying to do when you said it wasn't a sport.
I was not trying to rage bait. It wasn't like some edgelord thing. I didn't think people were that defensive about it. It just happened to be. Now, in other cases, yes, sometimes I know what I'm doing. So.
And you definitely like the Hornets nest every once in a while. 877-794-1973. Had an interaction with a Bears fan yesterday at the pool. We're going to get into that one coming up.
Oh, got to talk about that
as well. Will D hit us up on the YouTube comment. Said, "You think that somebody's going to hire Rich Bisaccia as a special teams coach somewhere, knowing the Packers were bottom half of the league the last few years?" Will, absolutely, and not necessarily just because of Rich Bisaccia. I'd pinpoint to a number of different situations in coaching, right? It doesn't necessarily. Somebody look up where the Packers defense ended up in all of their final numbers here at the end of the year. Were they in the top 10? in pretty much any statistical category, not necessarily. Now there were a couple that they would be close to while Micah Parsons was on the team and you were 9-3-1, and there's a process instead of just results situation. But Jeff Hafley was going to get hired by multiple different teams. Matt LaFleur, when he was hired by the Green Bay Packers after 1 year of calling plays in Tennessee, I think they had the 25th ranked offense in football. And the next year they're in the NFC title game in his first year as a head coach. So it happens all the time. It doesn't necessarily, right, wrong, or indifferent, doesn't matter. But I don't even know where the Raiders special teams finished. I think they were in the 20s when Bisaccia got brought in as one of the higher price special teams coordinators in football. And it wasn't just because of, again, I got some hot take here on a hot take hump day. There's only so many ways to cover the new kickoff, right? Like there's only so many ways
to strategize.
Block 10 guys on field goal block and actually step to the right spot and block the son of a gun that you're supposed to, that we rep every single week in practice, right? So there's only so many ways that you can, that schematically, I think you can coach a lot of this stuff. It comes down to the intangible stuff, the way people talk about him, the way players react to him, the way coaches trust and interact with him. So I do believe he's going to get hired if he wants to coach again. And it does seem like quickly he made that pretty clear. He wants to coach again. Now, he might not in this cycle. And that's why this is so confusing. A lot of those jobs are gone, right? Like Bubba Ventrone is one of the more well-known names of special teams coordinator fame because his team blocked a punt while he was on Hard Knocks and he ran down the field and lost his hat. Like he got hired already. It's like teams are picking off different coordinators and those shares are moving. It's going to be, you're going to have to grab one here pretty quickly. And I don't know exactly how much the up and down elevation from, the Packers have hired a couple of guys from the college ranks. Not only Jeff Hafley, but just this year, wide receivers coach from Iowa State. So like they've plucked guys from there. Maybe that's the course that the Packers end up going here in the next couple of days. What about Mike Witt? Maybe after the way Ben Johnson punked LaFleur after the playoff game, Rich Bisaccia wanted a little more anger and fire from his head coach. How about the way the season ended and not the laid back attitude Matt always displays? Again, like, and I think we had this in the first segment, guys. I think it's fair, Armen, to say, I appreciate that we're a culture guy and I appreciate what we do for the culture. How much do we want to run back a 9-7-1 culture after an 11-6 culture and a 9-8 one? So like, I do get can we elevate and that being a part of the conversation, but it doesn't seem like that was the situation here. It doesn't seem like it was, we're moving on from you because we do need to elevate. It may have been Rich saying, maybe I've done all that I can do here, and maybe you need a different voice.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the things I thought about in that first segment. We kind of talked about it, but it's the whole idea that like maybe it was his decision to say, I'm just not moved by this anymore. I'm not inspired by this anymore, this coaching staff, this situation, and it's not something I want to coach with. Maybe I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would, and maybe that's kind of what Mike's getting to there. So not really sure. We don't really know, and I'm not sure we'll ever know, but yeah, you have to acknowledge that is a possibility. Maybe that's just where you want to do it.
And that brings up a question, too, of how does this reflect on Matt LaFleur? Because Matt LaFleur is obviously given an extension, as we all know. But to have a guy step down after the cycle is basically over, and it doesn't help. I think, obviously, if LaFleur if he would have fired Rich Bisaccia, I think that would have looked better probably to fans because that's what they were hoping. Look at the numbers. He hasn't performed, right? So that would have been, that's the move we want. Yeah, it would have made. Yeah. But as far as the perception of Matt LaFleur, whether it's accurate outside compared to inside, that can obviously be debated, and maybe it's different. Obviously, there were a lot of players that kept up for Matt LaFleur on that last day when they cleaned out their lockers. So there's obviously a different view of Matt LaFleur than what seems like for a lot of the fan base right now. However, this doesn't necessarily help Matt LaFleur's cause that Rich stepped down and doesn't want to be a part of this anymore.
No, it doesn't look great. Now, I also think the interesting one for LaFleur is Hunter as well. Again, fourth special teams coordinator is going to have in 8 years. And it's also again, check my math. I think 4th defensive coordinator he's going to have in 8 years. Now, one leaves to go get a head coaching job.
Sure.
You fire 2 of them, that's a lot of turnover. And whether or not it matters too much to you as to where you go from there and how much people, like you and how much people respect that part of your acumen. At some point, you might need one. You might need a job. You might need one of those spots. And a lot of times guys are a little bit more hesitant to move through it and move off because of that. And I don't know that, again, I don't think this comes from the Packers. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was some internal pressure, and the folks that have been asking Ed Policy to hold some people accountable.
That's it.
Hold them accountable.
Maybe he walked in and said, you know what? This office that we got here, we might be paying you the money. We're going to start cutting the cable here. All right. Because I think we're all being a little bit too comfortable.
Your internet's not working today.
Yeah. Right. Like maybe they started pulling some things like that, Armen.
Maybe they start throwing rocks at the balcony and rakes and moving you down to the library in the basement.
Throwing you into the clubhouse by the James Patterson novels. All of a sudden you start grabbing one, start contemplating life, saying, oh my God, how many horror movies are actually happening right amongst us? How can one guy think of all different ways for there to be a murder mystery? I'm telling you, there's 1,900 James Patterson books in here. How many different ways does this guy come up with somebody dying and somebody being an evil genius? That's impressive stuff.
And who had all the books? Someone there was a big James Patterson fan and donated all those books. I got another one for the library if we want. And that, I think what you said is funny, because I think that might be part of the residual issue that won't make Packer fans totally quote unquote happy, is that like, well, yeah, we're rid of him, but he left on his own.
100%.
You didn't do what I wanted him to do, right, guys? Which is make me feel good by holding them accountable, which is what we hear so much. So, that's the funny part of this. Dreamy says he'll be coaching high school. Hey, Mike Sherman did. So you never know.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Very much could be. 877-794-1973. Had some good ones on the text line. Bill in Iron River. Good morning, Huddle.
Good morning.
Personally, I'm not disappointed to see Bisaccia leave Green Bay. However, I will say that whomever they put in that position next, if he doesn't do any better, then it's obviously a systemic problem in the organization. If that's the GM head coach, then the chips must fall where they may. Bill from Iron River, Wisconsin. Bill, thank you for checking in, and I love that you're checking in with us.
And really quick, I think it's interesting he said that, because he kind of acknowledges then that he thinks the industry felt Rich Bisaccia was the best option. Because he's like, well, if Rich couldn't even succeed here and nobody's going to succeed here, then it must not be the coaches, which is an interesting point. Like, how much of it is coaching at the point where maybe the league says, you know what, like, we like having special teams coach and teaching, but even the Packers might have felt Rich's role was more than that, and therefore, special team success isn't about coaching. It's about personnel and, it's all these things. So it is interesting. But, hey, I'm going to say the same thing I said after Sean Slocum left and after Ron Zook left and after Sean Menenga left and after Maurice Drayton left and now Rich Bisaccia. Well, might as well try something else. It can't get any worse.
Might as well try something else.
Same thing for 10 years,
Well, and that's where Bill and Iron River nail hit on the head. I think it's so into that's the conversation that needs to be happening. Is this a systemic problem, and how can you break it? And is it as simple as you find a returner like the last great one they had, and people forget Micah Hyde? And Micah Hyde was a dynamic return man in the punt game. Now, Keyshawn Nixon was a phenomenal kick returner for a couple of years as well. Somewhat under Rich Bisaccia's leadership, but we don't want to talk about that. All right, we're not going to talk about that one.
We're just going to talk about Dobbs missing the onside kick and the missed field goals.
Correct, Hunter. You're picking it up right. You got it. And oh boy, I can't remember which offensive lineman they brought in. Brant Banks. Poor guy did not deserve that stray. Where he's the one game active. And I mean, they decided 72. That's the lane we're running on field goal block. Damn near blocked 3 of them. Blocked one of them, returned him for a 2-point conversion. You tie that game 40-40. So it is a results-driven business, and the results were not good enough. However, the process, fascinating. Rich Bisaccia no longer the head special teams coach, as well as assistant head coach to Matt LaFleur. And our friend did say, hey, man, special teams coaches become head coaches somewhere. Find the next young brain. That's a great point. And I'll be interested to see if they go even younger. Right? Like double down on the conversation that was had in the middle of the year in the middle of the offseason is they need more experience. They need more veteranness. They need more guys that have been there for a long time. I got a feeling they're not going to find somebody with more NFL experience outside of the Green Bay Packers organization to take over that spot than Rich Bisaccia had. 877-794-1973. Hunter Baumgart is in for Drew Olson. He's going to spin us through some Luis Rengifo conversation from yesterday as he met the media with the Milwaukee Brewers coming up. We got Hot Take Hump Day. We got a current electric superhero of the day an hour away, and more from you coming up next. It's The Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Huddle up, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Billy Schmidt, Armen Sarian, Hunter Baumgart with you inside the beautiful clubhouse area, the clubhouse commons area, I think you would want to call it, at the Hills, as we continue to broadcast one final day here from the Grapefruit League. Some people were asking, and Red Hot Tim Knott, I do apologize. He said, so wait, I thought Billy was getting locked up in Geezer prison. How is he out here? Is he on work release or something? I had 500 free Billy shirts printed for nothing.
Yeah, a lot of people asking to make sure, yes, Billy realized he was tangling with the wrong guy, so he switched locations to a secure broadcast location and a great backdrop if you're watching us on YouTube, X, and Facebook, which you should be. But Billy's good. Everybody's good. We came to an amicable decision, settled out of court. And when I say
condo court.
Condo court. So, hey, good to see everybody. And thank you to the real William Schmidt. No offense, Billy. William Schmidt Sr., who's running interference, as they say. And no one's getting
basically
by him.
Security.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, right now, currently, foot outstretched right in front of the door. He has checked the lock on it after I did go out and check out the sunrise, right? I mean,
have to.
You have to do that, yes.
You know I have to check out the sunrise. Otherwise, it's not a Huddle show. But he's ready to roll. I mean, he's got that thing. I can't necessarily tell if there's a club in his hand. I can't fully, but he's prepared if somebody tries to run through here and have an issue. Dreamy said, that's a green screen. Billy's poolside. Dude.
No, he was picking up books
that would
back
be such
there.
a good idea.
This is not, that's a great idea, but it's not. And this is not AI either, Billy. You're just picking up books from behind there. All right.
Guaranteed human, baby.
Yeah.
877-794-1973. A couple more on the talk and text line here before we get into I just take a deep breath because I had to bite my tongue. Almost said something I shouldn't have said. Just another ridiculously stupid and hilarious story out of an executive director in a players union.
Oh my God.
However, except extremely sad. Because again, players get the rap of being these dumb jocks that are just going to throw around their cash and end up going broke. Yes. However, then when they put their money and are forced to put their money behind a publication that is supposed to be looking out for the best in them, in the two sports that we maybe follow the most, the folks that the players are being told and forced to trust the most, one's getting shoulder rubs in the second floor of Tootsie's, and the other one is hiring a
I know. I thought Billy. I was like, no, I already heard about the union director that got in trouble. This is a totally different deal entirely. So it just makes you shake your head. So once again, we think this is a desert of sports stuff. It's not. We're full with a smorgasbord.
Always something
today.
going on.
Just a full smorgasbord, and we get to hear from potentially the Brewers' new third baseman because Supper Club Mark did message us yesterday, and I did not get to it in earnest enough. He said, "Who is going to be the Milwaukee Brewers' third baseman?" Hunter Baumgart's going to answer that, however cleanly he can, because I don't know that it's a clean answer. However, we're going to hear from Hunter, one of the guys that's going to have a chance to be the Brewers' third baseman this year.
Yes, we'll hear from Luis Rengifo coming up in just a little bit.
Although he did say ball player. I like
He'll
that.
Play anywhere for you.
A ball player for you. And listen, we're going to play for the next 2 hours with you at 877-794-1973. Naganoed out is Armen Sarian once again, keeping the streak alive. Hunter Baumgart with a fresh fade is in for Drew Olson. I'm Billy Schmidt. It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
69 last night. Braden Carrington hit 5 3-pointers off the bench. He led the team with 20 points. Nick Boyd, John Blackwell, 14 each in defeat. Wisconsin just 7 of 26 from behind the arc. They're 10-6 in conference play, and they will be home against Iowa on Sunday. The Bucks back from the All-Star break on Friday. Giannis yesterday said he's healthy, but still needs to get up to speed on 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 5-on-5 in practice. He said when he could do that, he'll be in the next game. Will that be Friday against the Pelicans? I guess we will see. Packers assistant head coach, special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia stepping down from his position yesterday. That, according to head coach Matt LaFleur. Bisaccia has been with the team for the past 4 seasons. He's been an NFL assistant for the past 20. At the Olympics, the United States earned silver in the men's speed skating team pursuit final yesterday. Kewaskum's Jordan Stolz will go over his 3rd gold tomorrow. And the USA men's hockey team will take on Sweden today for a chance to go to the semifinals. The Huddle is next. I'm Scott Dolphin on Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and welcome to the Huddle.
I'm all for someone huddling if you have something to say.
It's time to wake up and talk about the teams you love with the guys you love.
It's just about getting the group together. I need you, you need me today. Let's keep touching each other. Let's make sure we feel each other. Let's make sure we smell each other's breath.
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
You need 15 or 20 huddles to correlate with a number of cameras.
Take the cameras off the field, then there'll be no huddles.
Now gather around because it's time to huddle up.
West left slot, 323 wide stick on 1. Ready, be alert for blitz. If it looks like man coverage, I'll check. I'll go 200 yet. You got to cut and crack. Now cut and crack. Red, right, 18, Bob on 1. Ready, cut him and crack.
If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.
We know exactly what we got to do. All right? That's all we're going to y'all do. Let's go out and kick the tape. All right? 1, 2, 3. Keep doing what you're doing. Sit our guys after and make the play. Be right, all the way outside. Wide, left, fake, 396 bag, D-hand, C puck. Is that long enough for you?
I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
With Drew Olson,
Mythical, legendary figure.
Bill Schmid,
Oh, my God. This man's been out all night.
and Armen Sarian.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Sanchez, we ready?
Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin is on the air.
Huddle up. Hour 2 of the Huddle is on your radio, on your phone, your computer, your TV, wherever you may be and however you may be listening to Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin's fastest growing sports show. You're missing out if you're not. Tell a friend, tell your neighbor, tell your mother, tell your baby mama, tell them all that we huddle up live at 5 each and every day on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, 920 a.m. in Milwaukee, 1070 a.m. in Madison. I'm Billy Schmid. Hunter Baumgart in for Drew Olson today, and Armen Sarian knocking it out as well. Fellas, sorry, I was just checking out some of these books here in the cabinet.
Yeah, we got a lot.
During the
Any
break.
chicken soup for the soul?
Great library. Yeah, that's a winner. That's a winner. It's chicken soup with a sports soul.
God,
right?
they should have that.
I got
It
an
just
extra,
seems like it'd be on there.
if you want to have like 2 extra copies, because I was gifted that many a year by people that, you know, chicken soup for the sports fan soul, chicken soup for the Packers fan, special teams fan soul. There should be a lot of them. What do we got up there,
How about
Billy?
this one? How about this one that I just found?
Uh-oh, here we go.
You recognize this guy?
Oh, there's the Mick right there. The
Oh.
last
The last
Mickey
boy.
Mantle.
The
How did I
end
know?
of America's childhood.
Now, don't take this wrong when I say the R word, but how did I know that a retirement community in Florida was going to be chock full of Mickey Mantle books?
Gotta
They
have 'em.
love the Yankees down there, right? That's obviously the Yankees' winter home has been in Florida many years, and a lot of New Yorkers and all that stuff, and of course Mickey Mantle, the matinee idol, and the New York Yankee matinee idol. So there you go.
Well, and you're right. Now, only reason why I would quibble with that, Armen, is this is the home of the Boston Red Sox.
This is Red Sox country, and
This
someone
is-
had asked you about that really quick. Yeah, it was JetBlue Park. They asked if you made it to JetBlue Park to see Caleb. Speaking of third baseman, right?
So that's the goal today. The goal today is to get over to JetBlue Park. Their complex is pretty wild. I mean,
Compared
it
to the
is-
Twins complex, right? Yeah.
and not like the Twins complex is bad. The Red Sox park is just gorgeous, and like they have like a mock version of the Green Monster in left field. Like it's a pretty sweet place, and access is pretty wide open. But there was a young lady who won a contest at the pool yesterday. Said she's from Long Island, New York.
We got pool. We got pool contests.
Chorus of boos.
Oh,
I mean,
let's go.
loud chorus of boos.
Okay.
So this is Boston, like
this is Red Sox
Boston
territory.
centric.
This is
You're saying
Red
I can
Sox
walk
town.
around with my Boston references and fit right in? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, you would have been naming off all your different neighborhoods that you do in the Boston area. And you would have picked up a couple of cats at the pool yesterday that said, "Oh, I'm from Eastbrook." Like you would have had somebody right out of the gates that would have called you over. One guy, I mean, you should have seen my man's Red Sox swim trunks. I was almost jealous from just a fandom perspective. Packers swim trunks, right? Nice, bright, and fluorescent. They'd be Nagano like you,
right? Yellow,
blue, red, white, and blue. A little patriotic feel to them, and your sport, your favorite team. I was a little jealous of my man.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, and I like knowing that there's pool games and stuff. Is like a DJ going on too? Is it like is the Summer Bowl 8? What do we got going?
Dude, it was an impressive spot. Now, this was not the Hills spot. Did not fire the DJ in the pool.
Oh,
game,
got it.
Transported the fun.
You went to a different spot. Got it. Okay.
In the Fort Myers area. Yes. Good call. Now, maybe they put that in here. Maybe that's the way that we don't get kicked off the balcony, as if I'm running some pool games.
Yeah, you change the culture.
We change it. We do change the culture a little bit.
Right. Get them used to the music and the noises. This is next thing you know, we're at the day club. That's what they call it in Vegas.
Maybe
right?
it's not
the
just
day club.
Security as the live in studio audience. Maybe we do have a little bit of a breakfast over here. Somebody with a griddle over, and we're not acting that big. We're not going to go that far with it. But
can I take a minute to address something that seems to be popping up in the comments here on the YouTube and Twitter and stuff before we get to our Rengifo?
I had a feeling that this was going to. I had a feeling you were going to feel attacked here pretty quick.
I got to get to this because we've had a couple comments now, and some of you have noticed that are very loyal listeners and watchers of the stream.
And we appreciate that.
We appreciate that a lot, and we've been working to improve it every time we can, is that we have added music in the breaks. Now, why didn't we have music? Everyone notices we didn't have music in the breaks, and it threw some people off. I heard from many people, some of my own family, about how we need music in the breaks because it throws them off. They think they lost the stream. Well, we can't play the regular bumps because of the copyrights and our corporate, the copyright, the lawyers, the overlords. I didn't go to law school, unfortunately, so I can't fight those battles. So we just decided to, not get sued. And we wanted you to be able to watch the YouTube stream after the show's done and not get it taken down. So we haven't had any music now. Great job by Hunter, working hard, adding in some copyright-free music. So you've heard that, a little bit of, and then we've had Wisconsin Sports Fanatic. We've had Dream. I'm gonna pop them up here. Where's the other one here? Didn't like the music, basically.
Look,
all right, not a fan of the music.
It's asking if you're just creating engagement. I knew that one was gonna.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let Hunter say his piece here in a second, but for Dreamy, say, hey, it's not the Beatles. At least some people, John gets it. Guys, the music is copyright law. They can't play. We threw in some copyright-free music here. Now, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Beggars can't be choosers. You wanted music during the breaks. You got some music. We mixed it. Hunter's did a great job mixing up some different music beds here. Listen, you know what? All I can say is it's going to be fine. Just listen to the music and enjoy it and have your coffee.
Whatever music I chose.
Shut up and listen.
Whatever music I chose was likely not going to be universally loved. I mean, it's just when it's just the copyright generic stuff, you don't have a lot of necessarily variety to work with, right? They're all a variation of about the same thing. It's about the same beat. It's I did a little electronic. I did a little that sounded like 70s, 80s.
I like the last one.
We vary depending upon the break that we are in. So there is a little variety because what I didn't want was to do the same song every break because then you just get absolutely sick of that one song. So
I like that you went 80s, 90s, and now of the copyright-free music. You tried to mix it in a little bit. I like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, Dreamy says it sounds like a bad 90s rave. The problem, Dreamy, is you clearly, to you, that's a negative. If you tell me 90s rave, I'm doing the 90s tech, so I'm going to give it to you all day. Even during the regular bumps, you get 90s techno the rest of the day. There you go.
Now I
would wish for,
and I think this is fun because in all reality, I thought you guys put that in, so I didn't think that I lost the connection.
Well,
in all reality, I didn't realize this was asked for. I thought you guys were doing me a solid, so I appreciate that and the thought that went into it. And again, the visual component of this program is continuing to evolve and get better with time. So don't
every day.
I mean, don't put it past this squad to find either even better and even more elevator sounding music during the breaks. Like I would hold. Now it does feel like some hold music potentially. I would hold because we could get even better. Like we could even could get worse, right? Could play it in it be even wilder sounding copyright free music.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have some fun with this. Like there
Sure.
are spots where we find a possible hindrance, right? We maybe get kicked off the path. We maybe get kicked out. We do maybe get 1 or 2 shows pulled down.
Sure.
You just unlock a creative genius in this thing.
Sure.
That could be
And hey,
way more dangerous than anybody could have thought of.
And hey, you know what? Just like us as humans in life, this video stream, this show is not a finished product. We're evolving at all times. We're always learning, growing, we're living, breathing things. So there you go. Just much like the Brewers' third base position, right, Hunter?
Oh, that's exactly right. That was a professional transition right there. Oh, and yeah, that is Armen. When Armen goes to sleep tonight, he's gonna be very proud of what he just did.
He's gonna pull that day. Yeah, he's gonna pull that one, no doubt about it. But Hunter, we did get to hear from potentially the Brewers' new third baseman. I don't want to put limits on Luis Rengifo, but I got to assume he's gonna have maybe shots 1, 2, and 3 to lock up position number 5 on the scorecard.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Luis Rengifo is not the starting third baseman for most of 2026. I think this is the guy. I think you pay him $3.5 million. You bring him in as a free agent. He's a veteran guy. I know he's played most of his career at second base, and to be honest, he's better at second base because his arm isn't, the most accurate or strong when it comes to that third base position. But he's definitely a guy who can be solid at third base. You could argue that he's maybe a little step down defensively from where Caleb Durbin got to last year, but when Caleb Durbin came up, he still had a lot of work to do. And what I'm really excited about at the third base position is where Luis Rengifo can go with Matt Erickson. And it's interesting because Caleb Durbin had his introductory press conference, or he talked to the media for the first time last week and really praised Matt Erickson, who's now the third base coach, infield guru for the Brewers, and really praised him and gave him big props for the way he was able to develop at third base last year. That the way he worked with Matt Erickson, talking about Caleb Durbin, the way he worked with Matt Erickson last year and getting better at third base. And so I think Luis Rengifo is going to be the guy. I think they're going to wait with the other young guys to get again, most of those, all of the options when it comes to everybody except Jet Williams has not played at AAA yet when you talk about the third base position, other than Jet Williams, and David Hamilton's obviously a major leaguer, but you talk about Jet Williams, 34 games at AAA. All those other guys, the Wilkin, the Pratt, the Pena, the Madej, all those guys Fisher have not even played at AAA yet. Give them some more time. So I think it's a stopgap guy. But this is what Luis Rengifo talked about yesterday when it comes to his impression of the Milwaukee Brewers.
They go to the playoff all the time. It's a fun group to watch them play when I play another team, and it's really good. It looks like a family.
Luis, you mentioned this is a team from the outside that just goes to the playoffs every year. What is it like to be wanted and be on a team like this that has goals and aspirations and highlights?
It's really fun. It's really fun. So I talked with a couple guys. I talked with Jelich about like how is here, how the guys thinking, and I love it.
And it's still such a young team. Do you feel more like a veteran and an older guy? Do you feel kind of in the middle? Where do you feel?
I feel I'm a part of this team. I'm a part of this family, and I will enjoy it.
When you got here, what was it like for all the other guys talking to you as you walked in? I mean, have you had a chance to even meet everybody?
Oh yeah. The first thing I do is like meet everybody, trying to say hello. My name is Luis Rengifo, and like trying to be around the group and everybody know like meet us. So.
There you go.
All right. Couple of things in there.
Yeah.
Good line of questioning by my co-host on Badger Football Postgame Show, Lance Allen.
Of course. Lance doing a great job.
I did appreciate Hollywood being in there.
Yeah.
Of CBS 58 in Milwaukee. Now, I love it seems like very, very humble, happy nature of it. But the question of what does it feel like to be wanted by a playoff caliber team, going to a team that makes the playoffs every single year? I think people listen to that and they're like, well, obviously good. But like, you think about it from the perspective of this dude's been on teams that I think their most competitive deal was trying to win 75 games. right? Like, I mean, they have been,
Yeah.
he's been on some horrendous outfits.
Yeah.
And to get plucked after your worst year to go somewhere else, they clearly see something in you that adds to a team that is going to be pushing in contention. That's a rejuvenating feeling. And I got to assume for Luis Rengifo, like, this is the call that everybody salivates and waits for when they put in that time in LA, right? Like, you see it to a different level. Shohei Ohtani finally got out of there. And now what did he do? He's also the best player we've ever seen. Win 2 World Series and become maybe the biggest sports phenomenon in the world, bar any sport, right? Like, he is the most famous athlete, I think, hottest athlete right now amongst all professional sports. And it's even going to get hotter next month. He did that. And he was that player when he was growing up in Anaheim. I'm excited to see what Rengifo is able to do, Hunter, with that opportunity. You mentioned Erickson. Fielding percentage isn't everything, but it does seem like he's got some tools and maybe better play at third base than people would give him credit for.
Gold Glove finalist last year at second. So that's significant. You look at the fielding percentage, it does go significantly down when you go from second to third. He was 980 at second base, which is very, very good. I mean, that's getting towards elite category. Then you go to third base and it's below average. It's at 948. And so again, that's because of the arm. And so I'm very interested to see what he does and how the Brewers work with him to just look, different strategies. You're not necessarily going to reinvent his arm, but you're going to, okay, how can we compensate for this? How can we have a little bit of a different technique here and different things like that? He was asked yesterday about, will he play the third base position for the Brewers?
Oh yeah, I'm playing short, second, and third base, and couple outfield. But it's part of my game, and they give me the opportunity to be with these guys, and I'm excited.
Do you like better being at one position? Would you look forward to that opportunity instead of moving around to just be in one spot?
So I'm a player. So
there you go.
And be available to do my job every single time when I be in the line, and I do the best for the team.
It just feels like he's prepared for that question because the way he answered it was so quick and decisive. No, I'm a player. Like, he's already been asked that a lot. And he's prepared. I like that. That's how you interview guys with the team. Hey, I'm a player. You put me wherever it takes. But I did think, was it interesting there? Was it intentional or not that he said second, short, third, a little outfit? Like, was he giving that indication that maybe he'd be moving around a lot? Or is that just something he just said as like understanding the question? I'm not sure how much he translated. Like, well, I can play these positions.
Yeah, I think I think it's. I mean, look, the Brewers love positional versatility. They love a bunch of different lineups. They love to move guys around, and coming into spring training, I think they're open-minded about the infield as a whole. Now, Pat Murphy in one of his first media sessions said, I think Joey Ortiz is our shortstop, and I think Bryce Turang's our second baseman. So that quieted some of that down. However, I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes you do see, especially if things aren't going well for some reason, for Rengifo to start the year at third base defensively, or Ortiz is struggling, then you start to shift that around. But I think to start the season, Rengifo's at third, Ortiz is at short, Turang's at second. You could also argue that maybe you have a better defense with Ortiz at third. Bryce Turang at short. And Rengifo at second. But again, I don't know. We haven't seen Turang at short in the major league level consistently, so you don't know what you exactly have. And the only time you tried to do it, you got injured. So you still, that's kind of an unknown there at shortstop. We obviously know how Joey Ortiz played at third. You also love Joey Ortiz's defense, so him playing shortstop you love as well. But I think maybe your best defensive lineup could be Rengifo at second, and then Turang at short and Ortiz at third. But again, I don't know if you want to move your entire infield, especially up the middle where it's most important for a guy who just got into the organization.
I really would have liked to do it last year, right? Like, I really would have liked to have been able to do it last year. But Hunter, I just don't know. And maybe I'm thinking too much of it. I don't know how much you can do it when Bryce Turang's going to be playing second base all through the WBC. I mean, he's going to be playing alongside Bobby Witt Jr. Now, there's a lot of guys that you might potentially want to sub in. Bobby Baseball ain't somebody that they're going to take out of there at shortstop. He's going to play short, and then Bryce is going to play second. So if he was going to be able to play it and train it all off season and all camp, then I would be very interested with having two legit Gold Glove caliber players up the middle, and the opportunity for Joey Ortiz to hit his way into being your third baseman for the entire year, or hit his way out of the third base spot and allow one of these young players to have and make a special story of themselves and run into the big leagues after just 2 months in AAA and see what they could do. Or, maybe they don't. Maybe it is like Brett Beatty, I believe is the name of the Mets third base prospect that everybody talked about for a year, and I think he hit 212. So, he's not the first young player, Joey Ortiz, to struggle, but let's call it what it is. All those conversations we had are moot if Joey Ortiz can be an average offensive player at shortstop. Then I think a lot of their problems are solved.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching some video of Ortiz yesterday that people are posting from spring training, and he's just so smooth. He is just so smooth defensively, and you just want that guy on the field, and especially at arguably the most important position on the infield at shortstop. You want a guy like Joey Ortiz there. You speak of the other infielders the Brewers have. This is what Rengifo said when asked about the great defense he'll have around him.
I feel really good. I feel really good because I'm still learning. I'm learning for them, and they can learn from me too. So it's gonna be fun year. And I'll tell you before, I'm here to play so hard and do what I can do.
There you go.
Only thing you can do is your best. Only thing you can do is your best.
Right. Put it on a shirt.
And in a year that, listen, $3.5 million is nothing to sneeze at, but it's not the major league contract that you're hoping to hit when you reach free agency. And you have a year where you hit 300 at one point. So he's coming into it highly, highly motivated. And 28, 29 years old? That's generally when they or 26 years old. That's usually right around 29 when they tell you you're going to be hitting your athletic prime, right? So he's in that wheelhouse where a career year not only is the greatest thing for the Milwaukee Brewers, but the best thing for his entire career, because he's got then the potential to be a 3-year contract guy coming in next year. Do we have more from Rengifo, or is that what we had?
One more. Okay, one more quick one, because he talked about his interactions with Pat Murphy, not just when he got to Arizona, but also it sounds like he had interacted with him, before games before. So this is Rengifo talking about Murph.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Murphy, I like it because all the time when I play another team, so I say hello all the time when I go to the box, and it's just a lot of respect, I love what he do, and I'm a player, so I'm excited to be here and do a lot of things to win a lot of games.
I think we're gonna like this guy. I really do.
That. Yeah.
From the first impression, I think we're gonna like this guy, and he has a high ceiling offensively. I mean, he has a higher ceiling probably than Durbin at third base. His 2025 was not as good as Caleb Durbin's was. If you just look at the numbers, it clearly wasn't. And who knows where Durbin goes, but especially maybe some pop, maybe, just like you said, 2024, he hit 300. I know it was only 78 games. He had the wrist surgery, and that's something else to watch. Wrist surgery in August of 2024, then a rough 2025. Is he able to kind of come back from that?
Recover more. Yeah.
Right. There were no questions about that yesterday, and I'm not saying it's still affecting him, but it's something to think about.
I also think, Hunter, you just look at some of the counting numbers as well. Sure. The 300 is one that a lot of guys will like, and myself included. But at times he hit double-digit bombs. At times he had double-digit steals, right? 20 steals in there for a year. There's 17 homers there in a year. In not a, massive pitcher's park, but not the easiest place to knock the ball out of in LA. So I'm excited. He also seems like a player that fits out the profile exceptionally well. He can run a little bit. He can bat the ball around the yard a little bit, and clearly sounds like a very, very personable guy. And let's be honest, you need some more veterans in that clubhouse. However much you count on veteran leadership, quote unquote, you do need some vets. And when you have one of the younger teams in ball, while experienced, still very young, I don't think it's a bad thing to have more guys that have seen a lot of stuff in Major League Baseball to have. Good stuff, Hunter.
Good stuff.
For sure.
Well done.
One more quick thing: if his swing decisions are not exceptional at the moment, but the Brewers really worked on that with Andrew Vaughn. We remember the quote from Pat Murphy, swing at strikes or you're not going to play, basically,
that's
right?
what we do well.
I think they can help that as well, and that will help that average go up. That'll get him on base more. And so I'm eager to see what they can do offensively with him. We talk about the pitching and how the Brewers get guys in there and they're able to develop them. They can also do that with hitters. They did it with Vaughn last year. It could be the Vaughn type of signing for 2026.
Yeah, the Brewers look at themselves that way as with pitchers too, right, guys?
Yeah.
If they can be the team to mold this piece of clay into a finished product, or at least a more developed product than he was before when they came in. They have ideas for these guys when they bring them in.
Totally.
We just now have to find a way to be able to claim some type of credit for Rengifo, right? Like we were able to get the little bit of shred of credit for the Andrew Vaughn deal, right?
Yeah.
We were at the ballpark day they acquire him for Brewpalooza. Obviously, it was a little bit of station picks he does as to why he was maybe the best player. So now we need to find a way for that to be Luis Rengifo. We've got 6 weeks, fellas. 5 weeks. 5 weeks from opening day tomorrow.
Wow.
If my math is correct.
Right. Yeah, because it's a month from a week from tomorrow. Well, that was a really complicated way to say that.
26th?
5 weeks. 27th.
Yeah, March 26th.
Yep, 26th.
I know that day very well. Yeah.
Yep.
What's that?
Good.
That's the day I'm going to be off that day. I'm going. That's the day I'm off to the desert. No, I just know that day well. It's just you think of it. Well, I got that.
No, I know that day well. March 26th. That's the day I know well.
You had to think of that day. So
not like you're excited at all.
Nah,
Brewers are going to be 1-0, so we're going to know that day well.
It's going to be awesome. You'll be able to bet the Brewers in Vegas.
That's why I'm excited.
Yeah, well, not nearly as fun as betting them at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, but we'll accept your apology. 877-794-1973. How on earth have we reached halftime of the show and halftime of the week already? Scott Dolphin, we made him wait. We'll be quick. Sorry. Quick commercial music, courtesy of Hunter Baumgart and the commercial-free and copyright-free list coming up on the YouTube page. So word from our sponsors, and we're back right after this with our friend Scott Dolphin on our halftime report. I'm in a clubhouse area here in the Hills complex.
I like your bookshelf back there behind you.
Thank you. I was just regaling myself of some of the titles. Jewel is up there as well. We do have some Tom Clancy ones that I think might be kind of fun to be able to check out.
But was that Dolph really quick would have loved that Mickey Mantle book you pulled out. There's a Mickey Mantle book there.
Really?
Yeah. And Dolph, I know you're a Yankee guy. So.
Yeah, I may have read that. It's called Seven or
The Last Boy, Mickey Mantle.
I'm even too young, and I'm old. I'm even too young to remember Mickey Mantle playing, but I've heard stories. The dude was just legendary. Unfortunately, medical back then wasn't what it is today in Major League Baseball. Not to mention he was a legendary partier as well.
Partied hard off the field.
Right.
So people always say, like, look what he did when he was doing all that and not always healthy. What would he have done if he was always healthy and keeping himself? Who knows, though? Maybe that was part of his strength.
I mean, he unseated Joe freaking DiMaggio as Yankees center fielder, right?
How about this one? January 1957, Mantle took a break from rubber chicken to some people hear that and they're pause. Take a break from rubber chicken to negotiate a new contract with George Weiss. He asked for $65,000 twice in 1956 for a salary. The general manager replied with a threat, slamming a fat file full of incriminating evidence on his desk.
Oh, yeah, see, they caught
Billy Martin and Mickey Mantle left at 6 p.m., came back in at 3:47 a.m.
Yeah, it was like, it's like Vince did with Mac. I always have you sneaking on curfew. If you start giving me a problem, I'm going to fine you. All right.
So those guys, Billy Martin, Mickey Mantle, and Whitey Ford was the third one. Apparently, they were legendary. They were club kings in New York City. And the one story, and I'll condense this, that sticks out that I heard.
Oh, the fight?
No, they went to Mantle's from Oklahoma.
Yes.
And they'd go back there to hunt in the off season every year. And so he brought Billy Martin, who that guy was probably the wildest of all three of them, and Whitey Ford with him to hunt. And they're at this farmer, and Mickey says, I just need to get permission to go up to hunt. So he knocks on the door, and the farmer says, absolutely, Mick, anything for you. He says, but could you do me a favor? I've got an old mare. It's 30 years old. Great old horse, but she's in a lot of pain. Would you mind putting her out? You brought your guns anyway. Can you put her out of her misery?
Oh, wow.
He goes, yeah, I can do that for you. So he goes back down, and he thinks he's going to play a joke on Billy Martin and said, that SOB. I've been coming here he's not going to let us hunt. I can't believe this. And he goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shoot his damn horse.
Wow.
And he walks behind the barn. And Billy's like losing his mind. You can't shoot his horse. We're going to go to jail. And he goes, okay. So Mantle goes back and kaboom, he shoots the horse. And he's laughing and he's rolling. He gives it time. And then as he's walking back, he hears two big gunshots go off. And Billy Martin comes running around and goes, I got two of his cows. Let's get out of here.
Oh, my gosh.
Supposedly a true story.
It could be. Those guys had wild stories,
That is.
What would they do during the internet times?
Now, the crazy thing is it bad that I believe that one way more than I believe that he hit a 567-foot home run?
No, because that's a lot more believable.
Yeah,
565 is not.
I've seen the illustration. I don't think there was live video of that home run.
No, they just draw a picture.
And it landed on some old woman's porch, right? It was in D.C.
They found where it landed and it rolled down a
She
hill.
probably caught it.
That being said,
in her locker.
Maybe we should.
That's how she tells the story. Yeah, she was also at the ice bowl.
She was there too. Maybe we should let Dolph do an old Yankee story every day. But that's the way. I thought you were going to mention the fight at the Copacabana when Billy Martin beat that bowling team up in the bathroom or whatever, and they traded him.
Billy Martin was
wow.
a piece of work until the day he died. Tragically, I think he died on Christmas night.
He
in a
did.
Car accident.
It is the front of his driveway. He was probably driving, unfortunately.
What did he get fired? 6-7 times by George Steinbrenner?
Five-time runner, yeah. It's a crazy story.
Nuts.
Yeah, but there you go. Yankee story. I love it.
So hold on. Player for the Yankees, wild card, then manager for the Yankees, even bigger wild card in story. Is that
yeah. That's when him and Reggie Jackson had the fight in the dugout and him and Steinbrenner won 77, 78 seasons, right? They went back and forth.
He was a little guy. He just didn't take any grief from anybody. I think he managed a bunch of teams, right?
Texas,
Tigers, A's,
Minnesota.
Yeah, but
Oakland.
He'll always be remembered for the
Tigers. Yankees. Yeah. There you go. But it was a good player. I mean, he was a World Series MVP, I believe, one of those World Series years.
Right, and those teams were loaded with Hall of Famers.
Of course.
Yeah. A Milwaukee guy in those teams, Tony Kubek.
Yeah.
There we go. Listen, I like that you guys just localized that right there at the end.
How about that?
That's what I've been taught to do.
Brought it back home.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I noticed there was, as only the books and the titles that I'm finding here, there's also a little workout room here behind me, Dolph. Now, I'm surprised no one's using it. Like I definitely thought that thing got a lot of workout and a lot of work in there. However, they got some of the best motivational posters that I think I've ever seen in there.
Oh, like the ones in the guidance counselor's office in elementary school?
The kitten hanging off the clothesline? Or
The one that I just read was, your body can do it. Now you need to convince your mind.
Well, that is so good stuff.
That's powerful right there.
I need one of those.
Not ready to take on a Wednesday.
The only bad workout is the one you don't do.
Let's go. I love that one.
You want to talk about a bar?
That should have been in the Bible. That is still quoted.
You guys remember the motivational posters that were in like all these like office conference rooms in like the 90s and 2000s where we just have one thing like focus. The moment where the mind meets, and it was like a picture of the globe or something like. Do you remember anybody? No, that was a popular.
I know
thing.
what you're talking about.
That was a popular run for a while of those things.
My favorite one was in the late 1990s at this company when we were purchased by then Clear Channel, now iHeart.
Sure.
They had some illustrations, and one was a little guy with a trench coat on, and his pockets were overflowing with money, just greenbacks everywhere. But his arms were like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So basically, the message to all the employees was, we're going to make a lot of money, but we're not going to hand much out to y'all. So get ready.
Jeez. Well, that was before they became iHeart. That was the other company.
Yeah. Well, it was the same company, just a different name, Clear Channel. Yeah.
Same, really, really cool how they kept the same mission statement. 877-794-1973. Now, guys, as you've continued to hang out with us and people have throughout the week, people are asking us how the pool is. It's been good. But Dolph, yesterday we went to the Margaritaville spot down here in Fort Myers. I know we talked Jimmy Buffett and some country guys earlier in the week. That whole area, that model. Do you think we ever see somebody replicate that? Or is that now what Nashville fully has become? Because everybody says, like, you can put a name on a bar. And I think Blake Shelton's the only one that I think has had one outside of Nashville that I can remember. Could anyone out there in Vegas?
Toby Keith had a franchise with those things, too. He had 6 or 7 I love this bars around the country from Detroit to Vegas. And I think even though he's gone, there's still one in Oklahoma City.
Okay, because it's just like, I mean, I'm looking around here. There's a lot of people ready to listen to some music, and it didn't matter what you were putting. You were serving drinks. There was a pool. There was sun. People were going to have a good time. Like, if I am Luke Combs, Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, I'm finding any way possible to throw my name on one of these things and grab into some money because it feels like that is a hotbed for fun and folks that want to say, hey, that guy reminds me of when I was having even more fun in the pool, drinking even more $12 or $14 margaritas, and I want to go to that guy's place.
I think there's more country music megastars with huge bars in Nashville right now than there is without. I mean, you can't
Everyone's
throw a
got
rock
one
without
branded.
hitting one.
Yeah, and then you mentioned Old Red in Vegas that's done so well. Who that was Blake Shelton's, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. And I think because everyone's a copycat, right? Because they're trying to, it's a business opportunity. I think Aldean and Luke Combs are both opening bars in Vegas on the Strip because Old Red has done well. So there you go.
And ironically, those two bars are connected in Nashville. Those two guys you just mentioned. Then right across the street is Old Red. Blake Shelton's Old Red in Nashville is 6 stories high. It's an old bank building. It's incredible. And I haven't been to Nashville in a few years, but I hear they're all, Morgan Wallen's and Eric Church. They're all like it's the Disney World for country partiers to go to Nashville to see all
who was
those
the first? George Strait?
Man, I don't even. I mean, you probably have to go way back into the 60s or 70s. That's a good point. One of the first ones I remember in the modern era was Big and Rich.
Oh yeah,
they had one.
Yes, okay.
It all started in Nashville with the new Nashville. I think with like the Wild Horse Saloon. You have the old school bars that are by the Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman Auditorium, Tootsie's, and stuff like that. But I remember when the Wild Horse Saloon started, then you started seeing all the themes. There you go.
Big and Rich, right?
Yeah.
Talking. Oh, yeah. Now, I will say, Dolph, you mentioned it, and I think I've been to Nashville twice, so I can't consider myself the Nashville guy where it's like, yeah, but you got to go to this spot if you really want to go have fun. Tootsie's is still going to be the place that I think is nearest and dearest to everyone that goes to Nashville's heart.
It goes back to like the birth of country music almost, because if you go out the back door of Tootsie's, you go into the back door of the original Grand Ole Opry, which is the Ryman Auditorium, the mother church of country music. So the stories at Tootsie's are legendary. Hank Williams, guys like that would on a break from the Opry would walk out, go into Tootsie's, drink their fill, and then go back and do their second set.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's
good.
right there on the corner, 4th and Broadway.
And it's where my buddy Ryan almost fell over.
Really?
When he decided that he was going to go to the rooftop, they pull the it's basically like an attic door, right, to get up to the top. I'm like, hey, buddy, I think we're done. It's his bachelor party, right? I'm like, why don't we go get some burgers? Why don't we go? I need to go see this place. He took one step on that bad boy. Dolph, I've never seen somebody regret a decision faster. Turned right around. He said, thanks, Bill. Let's get up out of here.
No.
But it is what a beautiful, beautiful establishment. Dolph, always appreciate it, brother. We do have Mike Witt asking us who would win in a spelling bee. So I think we're going to have to solve that conversation tomorrow.
Oh, good luck.
I have no idea. We'll work on that.
Between all of us, it wouldn't be me. I become such a dummy, especially. Thank God for
Hunter
word
would probably
files
win.
and autocorrect.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but
I think Hunter.
I was going to say, as long as you don't throw receive in there, I might have a chance.
I'm going to give you guys a run, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think Armen is kind of the underdog. I think he'd win.
I still have trouble with dessert and desert.
It's tough.
Yeah. Me too.
And the Desiree News, the paper in Salt Lake. That's a totally different deal.
Now mine just blowing. Dolph, appreciate it, brother. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you later.
There he is, Scott Dolphin, hanging out with us. It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin. We're back after this with our superhero of the day. Huddle up back on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. I'm Billy Schmidt, Armen Sarian right there, and Hunter Baumgart in for Drew Olson. Time now for our current electric superhero of the day. We know sports, you might not always agree with our takes, but listen, we know some things about sports. What we don't know much about is electrical issues. No, I mean, sure, we can change the light bulb. That's about it. After that, we're going to call the superheroes from Current Electric. You should too. There are a lot of companies to choose from when you're in need of electrical services in your home or business, but allow Current Electric the chance to earn your trust and earn your business. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com for more information. Current Electric, home of the superheroes. And fellas, there's a lot of different ways that we could roll with the superhero of the day here today. But after he just got me my third cup of coffee while providing some not only elite show security, on top of now trying to seemingly metastasize the in-studio listening audience, I thought about giving it to my dad. I thought about giving it to Big Bill over here.
I think Big Bill's the hero.
Yes.
Is that what it's going to be, or are you making another decision here?
I'm gonna have to call an audible at the line of scrimmage, because after hanging out and rolling through the first hour and 50 minutes of the program, right before he's about to get an award,
yeah,
he's out here hanging out with the boys just outside. Just missed the opportunity to be today's Current Electric superhero of the day.
He had his chance. He went to the bathroom when they called his name.
Yes,
for the award. That's kind of like, I always thought the nightmare scenario. If you're in one of those award shows and you're in the bathroom while they call your name, you don't hear about it. So it's tough. It's tough because he did the work. He wasn't there when it was time, So it's tough.
Hunter,
tough break.
What would I always say at football feasts?
That's exactly what just popped into my mind was you got to be in there. You cannot be outside in the bathroom when we are giving away those Packer tickets.
Got to be present
It's
to win.
not the time to go have a Black and Mild, take a bathroom break. It's the last time to leave is when the awards are given out.
And it would happen. It would happen.
It would have happened. It was so close. He was that dangerously close to potentially being the Current Electric superhero of the day. So now we have to pivot. Now we have to think of something different. And as much as I was hoping to be able to say it would be the Wisconsin Badgers after following up the impressive run of games that they had over the last couple of days, Armen, can we consider Ohio State the rake stepped on last night? Because that was a buzzsaw shooting performance that the Buckeyes put on last night on that solid gray court.
Yes and no. I mean, they're kind of a bubble team, and I would say they're probably in the tournament right now. If you started it, Ohio State. Bruce Thornton was really, really good last night. They were at home, obviously needed to win over a newly ranked Badger team who just entered the top 25. So I won't say it was a total rake, but in that category in some ways. The Big Ten's just so competitive.
But when you're going to go up against a team that's going to shoot 52% from three,
and they were so
going to be hard to beat them.
Yeah, you're going to lose those games, and that's a tough deal to be able to stop. Even though Carrington was good in response, Badgers get a chance to brush that off with a win against Iowa, hopefully coming up on Sunday at the Kohl Center.
And they just beat Nebraska last night, so it's a competitive conference, no doubt.
After Iowa just got their doors blown off by Purdue. I mean, just got mollywopped by Purdue. And then I'm watching the Purdue game last night, and they're getting packed by Michigan. So it is a phenomenal Big Ten right now. Good run of games. Tough one for the Badgers last night. We're back after this with hour number 3 of the Huddle. Hunter in for Drew today on the game.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and welcome to the Huddle.
I'm all for someone huddling if you have something to say.
It's time to wake up and talk about the teams you love with the guys you love.
It's just about getting the group together. I need you, you need me today. Let's keep touching each other. Let's make sure we feel each other. Let's make sure we smell each other's breath.
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
You need 15 or 20 huddles to correlate with the number of cameras. Take the cameras off the field, then there'll be no huddles.
Now gather around because it's time to huddle up.
West left slot, 323 wide stick on one. Ready, Biller for blitz. If it looks like man coverage, I'll check. I'll go 200 jet. You got to cut and crack. Now cut and crack. Red right 18 Bob on one. Ready, cut him and crack.
If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.
We know exactly what we got to do. All right? That's all we're going to board down to. Let's go out and kick some tape. All right? Hey, yo. 1, 2, 3.
Keep doing what you're doing. You got to sit our guys after and make the play. Be right, all the way outside. Wide, left, fake, 396 bag, B hand, C puck. Is that long enough for you?
I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
With Drew Olson,
Mythical, legendary figure.
Bill Schmid,
Oh my God, this man's been out all night.
and Armen Sarian.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Sanchez, we ready?
Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin is on the air.
Welcome in. It is the Huddle as we huddle up on hour number 3 here in the good land. I'm Bill Schmid alongside Armen Sarian, Hunter Baumgart as well. Ooh. Cracking one and pouring it out already this morning? Let's ride.
It's almost time for you to pour one out, Billy, because we got 1 hour left in the show, and you're going to be down there at the pool soon, I'm assuming, with all your boys that have been protecting you, led by the captain, William Schmid, Big Bill.
Oh, yeah.
And the live studio audience, who's been kind of, like you said, metastasizing. Yeah, they've been coalescing around the show down there. So you got something going down there.
I thought it was. And then all of a sudden, somebody must have either pulled the fire alarm or somebody said that there's punchkis in somebody's condo, because I am now solo dolo in here. Like I am now.
The bad signal of the can popping was somebody. Yep. The popping right there. So
they said, "Hey guys, it is 5 o'clock somewhere," and not only because of the song, they said, "No, actually, in look, right there." All in Moscow, it's 5 o'clock. Boom, we can start having fun. So maybe that's the case. I think I'll have to potentially wait a little while. We got some stuff to do. We got some important things to do. Most importantly, the important thing is, guys, how did I forget to hit us with some hot takes on Hot Take Hump Day until already hour number 3 of the program? Ooh. I apologize, Hunter Baumgart in for Drew Olson, to not fully regale you of some more hot takes on a Hot Take Hump Day and bring you back to all the good feelings. I'm sorry for that. I apologize for my lack of stick-to-itiveness.
That's okay. I think the apology is accepted.
Yeah,
I think we had a lot of interesting things to talk about today. We had obviously the news of Rich Bisaccia stepping down. We had hear from the newest Brewer, Luis Rengifo, talk about the third base position. We've covered a lot of ground today. Also getting an update on what was going to be your hearing, but you obviously were able to settle that. Like William Contreras and the Brewers, same thing with Bill Schmid and the Hills, it sounds like. So good to be in the same discussion as William Contreras, right?
Yeah.
Settle things before you go to a hearing.
Now that's a good one. I appreciate you comparing 2 Wild Bills, right? That is a really, really good one right there, Hunter, because it was a slight settle out of court, out of arbitration hearing to put us into a shared space, into the clubhouse, which in all honesty, I kind of like better. Like right now I'm feeling a little bit more, I'm feeling a little more secure, even though
it's a controlled space, right?
Yeah, Billy? It's a controlled space. I'm not as cold as I was yesterday to not steal somebody else's spring training vibe, but it is
an office,
Yes, it definitely feels more like an office. I do feel quite professional. I saw somebody say, Billy, look at Billy being a philosopher today. I do feel about the most educated I ever have been. And so that's a good way of putting it. And that's a good feeling to be able to have. Also, the exciting part for us to roll through here is not only did we get to hear from Luis Rengifo about the third base position, we also got to hear from the Brewers owner yesterday a tick.
Good point.
And now, Hunter, we only get to hear from Mark Attanasio a few times a year.
Yeah.
I will also, though, admit, I think we probably hear from him. I can't say that I listen to a whole lot of different teams' coverage of their ownership sound bites. I think we hear from him just about as much as any other owner in the sport, definitely more than some, Bob Nutting in Pittsburgh. But like, man, Stephen Cohen's got a Twitter account and he's tweeting out every night. So like, you're not hearing from him as much as like a Matt Ishbia in the NBA. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know that I want to see Mark Attanasio playing in any celebrity games. What I do appreciate is the candidness that he speaks with, the open and honest lines of communication he has, and also the fact that Mark Attanasio maybe gave us just another one, maybe gave us another great soundbite here in spring training, because last year we glammed onto a quote from Mark Attanasio in spring training all year long. I don't know that this is going to be a full year soundbite, but I like that Mark always gives us something when the microphones come out.
Yeah, he always does. Here it is, guys.
What did Mr. Surface Line think? So look, one of the hardest things I think maybe the hardest thing about Matt's job is he has to make hard decisions. So this player not only super performed above expectancy, but in a very tough series against the Dodgers, he super performed there too. And he was a fan favorite all the way up to Commissioner Selig, who the first call I got when this got announced, by the way, was from Commissioner Alan H. Bud Selig. What are they telling you? So yeah, that's a really hard decision. The easy decision is to just go as she goes, right? And just because you're willing to make a hard decision doesn't mean it's going to be the right decision. Because he's going to hit in Fenway, and we have guys with ceiling, including David Hamilton, that nobody really talks about.
For a reason.
He's really fast. You can't, speed doesn't take a day off, and he's a great defender, right?
Get that, Billy?
So we'll see. But yeah, I wasn't sure what we're talking about. And likewise, at the end of the table there, they were both, quickly in support of this.
Quickly in support of it. Now, it sounds like Mark Attanasio had to be talked into the conversation, just like Bud Selig, while he almost spit out his hot dog at Gillies for lunch there at 10:35 in the morning, when all of a sudden that trade got announced that Caleb Durbin was a part of a 6-player swap to the Boston Red Sox, bringing back a couple of arms, and a former Milwaukee Brewer prospect in David Hamilton traded away. But Caleb Durbin, no one's talking about him.
Speed doesn't take a day off, Billy. You should get that?
It doesn't take a day off. The only thing that can keep it on vacation is a bat. Is that fair to say? Right?
I think so.
Yeah, because you got to be on base to use the speed.
I think it's fair,
Until I see in the game you be able to steal first base, I do need to be able to see you get on first base to have full confidence. I want to have a lot of confidence in David Hamilton. I want to have as much confidence as they have in David Hamilton. But I like the fact that Mark Attanasio gave us the quote of, you got to make hard decisions. Just because you make them doesn't mean it's going to be a good one. Doesn't mean it's going to work. He put this pretty clearly, Hunter, that you might need to convince me. And we might need to see it a little bit with Kyle Harrison. I'm going to trust you guys. Absolutely. I have empowered you to make the decisions. You have given me all the reason to trust you. But I'd like you to show me your work on this one, where I got this guy all up at Bucks games, Packers games, wearing cheese heads, selling jerseys. He's 25 years old. He's from 90 miles away. This was going to be a potential cash cow. He's going to hit it Fenway. And you're going to have to be able to show me that this thing's going to work. I like that quick onus of Mark Attanasio saying, hey, you want people to be held accountable. Sounds like he's going to hold the Brewers and Matt Arnold accountable for this one, because I don't think it was very easy for them to part with Caleb Durbin, it sounds like.
It sure sounds like that. And I think in order for this trade to work, Kyle Harrison has to be a significant part of this rotation for years to come. I think he's the prize of this deal, former number one prospect when he made his debut with the Giants in 2023. This is a guy who we talk about high ceilings, right? We talked about it with Rengifo. this guy has really high potential. And I really have a lot of confidence that the Brewers can get that out of him, considering what they've done with pitchers in the past. But he's the key to this deal. I think Drowan could be a good piece, probably a bullpen piece. If once, I think he'll start the year in AAA, and then maybe he becomes a bullpen piece down the road. And I think you're in a good spot if David Hamilton is your Andrew Monasterio, is your utility backup guy that comes in and can run at a time or play anywhere in the infield, or right. So I think those two guys are kind of that other part of the deal and could be impactful in different types of games. And maybe Drowan is kind of the key out of the bullpen, and a guy who's been around the minor leagues for a long time. I think 5 full minor league seasons, and hopefully he can make it to the big leagues and be sustainable in the big leagues, maybe in a bullpen role, or who knows. But Kyle Harrison is the gem of the deal. So if we're going to look at the third base position and say, okay, Rengifo played well, there's Rengifo, how he plays is going to also impact how we think about this trade. I don't know if that's necessarily fair or not, but I think when you're in a window of competing, you're going to also want to see, okay, what production did we get from third? What production did we get there? And also, how good is Kyle Harrison? Both of those are going to be, we're going to have to wait and see how this trade plays out.
Well, it's also interesting to know that, hey, I guess if you had any lingering doubts about the way the Brewers worked and the front office works, they don't have to get sign off from Mark Attanasio on decisions like this.
Yeah,
I mean, they have total autonomy to make those decisions, clearly, because he kind of raised his eyebrow at that one. And I also do like one thing, and maybe this is, doesn't really matter that much. It's just nice knowing that Bud is still locked into what we're doing. That he's a fan to the end, isn't he? I mean, he loves the Milwaukee Brewers to the end, and he is a Milwaukee Brewers fan to the end. And we weren't alive for it, guys, but in the Brewers' heyday in the early 80s, in those heyday when Bud was a very active, visible owner, people talked about it. You could see it if you watch some old stuff. They lived and died with the Brewers' success all the time. So it's pretty cool to see that as well. But listen, Mark clearly was surprised by it. It has to have some convincing to do, and maybe that's what makes this trade in the end. When you talk about Matt Arnold's skill, right, is making tough decisions. Maybe that's what's going to make this in the end. One day when we look back at it, it's so impressive is that you did trade a guy when he was probably at his peak, or maybe, we don't know that. Maybe history will tell us one way or the other. But if it turns out that you traded a guy when he was at his peak, you traded a guy everyone liked, that's what makes these decisions hard. That's what sometimes makes a good trade, though, is when you sell high.
Well, and how about it when I hate to just compare it to like the early 2000s and 2010 St. Louis Cardinals, but how many different times did you see? I think of they had a shortstop, Diaz, Aledmys Diaz. He was damn near rookie of the year at shortstop, and I think they traded him after his second year, and it was. That dude could be a cornerstone piece for you. Now, I think he ended up winning a World Series, I want to say with the Astros potentially. Like he played for a long time after. Wasn't necessarily a perennial all-star like you might have thought when he's a problem in his rookie year and an early developer. But Armen, selling high this is when you're talking about commodities. And in baseball, the talent pool, the player pool is more of an equity and more of a stock than anything, right? Yeah. Like in any sport, you don't look at player value and player, equity as anything more. Like in the NFL, you rarely ever see a player get traded, right? NBA, you're seeing a guy traded because he wants out and he has to go somewhere. And all you're trying to line up, not necessarily, are we getting the best skill back here? Are we getting the best value on the money? We have to make the money match up. Baseball, it's player for player. It's spot here. It's fit here. And I also think one of his toughest decisions, the one that he probably gets looked at and criticized the most, one that I don't fully believe Matt Arnold was making because David Stearns was still the general manager at the time, but he still gets lumped into it, I think, with the Josh Hader deal, where the best fruits of that one came 6 months later. So there is a hold and deep breath that needs to be taken with it. But I get the sudden rash of, hey, why on earth are we trading what could be a potential key for us for the next couple of years? Because last I've checked, we started Vinny Capra last year over a third base. And at the end of the year, we had a top 3 guy in rookie of the year balloting. So like you look at the position, and all due respect to Anthony Siegler and his family, there's a reason why we're not necessarily talking about him in the deal either. Maybe
Sure,
that's why
sure.
Kyle Hamilton. Like maybe they're really excited to get Anthony Siegler's value as a catcher and position player out there in Boston. I haven't heard that on WEEI, but maybe that's the case. Like they're in a spot where they wanted a third baseman because they've lost one in Bregman. And they wanted it for a long time. The Brewers are continually, I think, looking for a top of the rotation guy to follow up the one that they just traded in Freddie Peralta. So, Hunter, I'm with you. Like, this is a Kyle Harrison move, no doubt about it. But what also comes from it as well? There might not be we ship off somebody from the deal, but we then allow Brock Wilken to play in the big league in June. Or we all of a sudden, I mean, we've had a couple of people say it right here. Jesus Made is going to make the team. I don't believe he's going to make the team this year.
Right.
But could you see him at some particular point in the 2026 season? I will very much not put it past that dude. Like, I won't put it past his talent level, but it allows you to give those opportunities quicker and not feel like you're eliminating something in your competitive window, because you hit it on the head. You're still in a competitive window. You were 4 games away from the World Series last year. This can't be a time where you feel like you're taking a significant step back, but you're adding a huge value here. If this guy's a sub 3.5 ERA and starts 30 games for you, look out, because that's a hell of a value to be able to flip.
Right. And the competitive window mixed with the production you saw out of Caleb Durbin in just his rookie season, those are the two things that make this trade a little scary, is the fact that you're giving up a guy who proved he could do it in the big leagues night in and night out and was one of the best guys to do it in their first year in the big leagues in 2025. So, and you would say, okay, they had 6 years of control. This guy could have been the guy at the corner. However, you have the depth in the infield. And that's why I've said it would have made a lot more sense if they CBA negotiations, lockout, paying no attention to that for a moment, but it would make more sense to make this trade next year when you have all of those guys with another year of minor league experience. Maybe a couple of them have a cup of coffee in the big leagues, talking about the Wilkins, the Pratts, and all of those guys in the minor leagues. It would have made more sense to make this trade next year. They do it kind of a year early. They get a stopgap guy in Rengifo, and maybe he's better this year, maybe he's not, and you try to run it back. And a team that won 97 games, you have a lot of that roster coming back, so that's what still makes you excited about this team.
Yeah, and I like Caleb Durbin. I always have, and I'm going to just because he's not in the Brewers, I want this trade to work out, but I continue to think he'll be a good player. But it is important. It is important to point out, I know sometimes
I'm excited. Oh, sorry. I
don't mean
to cut you off with that.
I know.
That's not always you.
Sometimes I'm not like that. Now, I want the best for the Brewers in this trade. So I hope the players you get back are good, and I hope Caleb has a nice career. But obviously, you don't want to become a Hall of Famer right now. But my point is this, I guess. When you're in the player prediction business, which is basically what the Brewers are in these type of moves, you're trying to project out what this guy will be. If he's a perennial all-star, obviously they wouldn't. If they knew that, they're not going to trade him, right? If you know a guy's going to become what Nelson Cruz became, for instance, when the Brewers traded him, you wouldn't trade him. You're trying to project a player down the road. It's important to note that a lot of guys do pop early in their careers. They have great early parts of the year. They don't really project, or they don't ever kind of realize the potential they might have showed early on. That a lot of us always think, what Billy and what Hunter, we talk about this a lot, that progress is linear, and it's not always linear. It's not. It's intuitive for us to think if they're this good early on at this age, they will automatically continue to get better. And that's not the way things go sometimes. Orlando Arcia was a great example. I thought he had a really great rookie year. Maybe it turned out to be his best year of his big leagues. It didn't turn out. It didn't realize the potential that we once thought he would. Not saying that's Caleb Durbin. Not necessarily hoping for it. All right, I don't want to be that guy again, but the reality is, yes, Caleb had a great rookie year. Will he continue that path upwards into, transcendent heights? Will he stay steady and be a decent player most of his career? Will he not? We just don't know. That's the tough thing about trades like this, is essentially that's what the Brewers are trying to do, is project the future on guys. It's an inexact science. They do what they can in terms of the resources at their proposal to make the best value judgment they can on guys, and they felt like the value judgment was there to trade Durbin right now while he had a good potential, high selling point.
Yeah, and I also think it's just identifying where your strengths and weaknesses are, right? Like, not that the Brewers' young pitching depth is a weakness. I think far from it. But I think right now the belief is they have so much talent that is getting close enough to the big leagues that you have to give them an opportunity. And you deal from a position of strength. And But still, you might have a lot of guys that right now they could be profiling as 3s and 4s in a rotation and see Harrison could be a headliner, right? Like you could look over and say a right-handed Mizorowski and a left-handed Kyle Harrison, good luck in a 1-2 situation in 2 years, right? So there's foresight that way. 608 said, yes, Brewers are like the Cardinals, well, minus the World Series title. Stupid take. Not comparing them to the Cardinals at all. I would like to operate like the Cardinals did for a long time. I that is all credit to the St. Louis Cardinals. And no, the Brewers had not been like that for a long time. They're not that yet. But you do have to build out your business trying to be a team that is, I mean, the Cardinals had a lot more money to spend, no doubt about it. However, they also, there's a reason why, because they were consistently winning and going to playoff series and having home playoff games and getting more gates. And you drum up a hell of a fan base when you win World Series titles, right? Like that's the goal. That's the model. Obviously you're not there, but like they would always operate like this and emulating and in a copycat leagues of all these sports are. You do try to take little bits and pieces from different organizations. And I always thought, Hunter, that's something the Cardinals, maybe the Rays as well, but like that's one that I always thought the Cardinals did exceptionally well, is saying we do have really good young players, but we can continue to develop more. And let's trade off these guys to get dudes that can help us win right now.
You're starting, and I think maybe the Caleb Durbin trade is a sign that the Brewers are starting to feel that way about themselves as well, where they can trade a young guy away now, where they're not in a position where the only trades they can make are a 1 year away from a guy who's going to make big money in free agency, that they can give up players because they're like, yeah, we're really showing over the last 10 years how much we can develop guys. We still have the number one rated farm system in baseball after we won the most games in baseball last season. So knowing that, yeah, we can give up on maybe some young, not giving up, but give away with getting a significant return for these young players. And maybe we do see a little bit more of that strategy, is where you develop them. And I know people are saying, well, we become the farm system for other major league teams. I don't necessarily know about that, because you're also, you're getting players that the farm systems of other teams are producing at the same time. So I think the Brewers could be going, maybe this trade is a sign that they're headed in that direction. Not that they're going to give up a lot of young players. And I still don't necessarily think it's, if they're going to trade a young player, it's not necessarily for that 1 year rental or that hot Eugenio Suarez candidate at the trade deadline, but it's for a couple guys, or in this case, 3 guys who could be impactful for a longer time, especially a guy like Kyle Harrison.
Steve hit us up on the text line. I think the Brewers are going to regret getting rid of Durbin. You guys feel like you're making a lot of excuses for this new third baseman. Hopefully he comes through, but doesn't sound like he's that great of a player. Can he hit? Can this guy be a hit if he's not as good as Durbin at third base? He's got to be a better hitter, at least. His peaks in Luis Rengifo being that guy, numbers wise, would be a tick better than Durbin last year. However, again, Caleb Durbin's his first year. I expect him and hope that he gets better in his career, but it's not necessarily Luis Rengifo that you're looking at to be better than Caleb Durbin. It's Andrew Fisher, Brock Wilkin, or maybe Pena Made, whoever ends up going in there down the road over at third base. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, he's a stop. I don't want to say stopgap's the right term or not. It's not really his role to be a great player. So I don't know if he sounds like that great of a player. It'd be great if he popped up out of nowhere and had an awesome year. I just don't think the Brewers expect that.
The OPS player is pretty dang good if you're talking about a guy who would be a stopgap, though, Armen, right? I mean, that's here.
Absolutely. So, and listen, maybe Durbin will turn out to be a lot better than anyone thought. So it remains to be seen. There is unknown there. There's no question about it. The Brewers made their move there. If the Brewers regret it one day, it's possible. We'll see.
Yeah.
Excited to see it. And we will be talking more about this throughout the year. And I like this one from Boss Dobler. I also like Boss Dobler calling himself.
It's the new Dobler. Dobler became Boss Dobler.
Well, listen, boss, don't get hung up on Caleb being a Rookie of the Year candidate. He's still far away from being an all-star. That's a good point. Like, again, they can be different benchmarks, and where you are right now doesn't mean that's where you will be going forward. However, one guy that one time was with the Milwaukee Brewers, now president of the Milwaukee Admirals, one of our favorites, El Jefe, Jon Greenberg, joins us on the other side. Hunter Baumgart's right there. He's in for Drew Olson all week. Armen is once again Nagano'd out. We get an Olympics update before we get out of here as well. Greeny from the Milwaukee Admirals, Jon Greenberg, joined us right after this. It is The Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. As that music welcomes in the president of the Milwaukee Admirals, Jon Greenberg, we welcome you back to the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. I'm Bill Schmidt alongside Hunter Baumgart in for Drew Olson here today and Armen. And got some news on a former Badger coach in the NFL and some cool news. And also, wow, different lifestyle choice. That one coming up in 15 minutes from right now. But Jon Greenberg hanging out with us here on the line. Greeny, always appreciate it, man. As we get out of the All-Star break and back onto the ice, the boys getting back skating together. How was it being back at the arena as those stinky hogs have been a little bit of a pest over the last couple of months?
Yeah. We were glad to split over the weekend and played a very good game on Sunday afternoon. So I think we're not in a good place on Saturday night. It just was a tough performance by our guys, but I really applaud the leadership group of our team and our coaches, saying that we will not do that again. And Sunday we played the way we were supposed to play, and we got the 2 points we deserved out of that. But the good thing is we only play Rockford one more time this year, so it seems like we've been playing them a lot, which we have. So one more time, not for a few weeks, so we can finally see some other uniforms.
Well, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Sorry, Armen, but just for that point, I'm excited because young Carson, my 3-year-old, is starting to learn more of the AHL teams. However,
like that.
Every time he asked who the Admirals play, it was either the Wild or the Ice Hogs over the last 2 months or so.
Yeah.
So it is nice so that I'll be able to let him know there are a lot of other teams in the league, as you guys do get to see a couple other opponents coming up.
We do, yeah. Starting tonight with Texas. We get Texas tonight and on Friday, and then Grand Rapids on Saturday here at home. So busy times here. We're starting a stretch where we play 9 out of the next 10 games at home. So it is definitely time to make hay here and trying to solidify our playoff spot.
Yeah, this would be, you mentioned it, this would be the time for a push, right? The playoffs are right around the corner. We're nearing the end of February. It's been the winter's gone fast, but Admirals in 5th right now in the Central. If you look at the standings, Texas, Manitoba, all kind of just separated by a few points there. So really a chance to make a move here, as you mentioned, and that starts with seeing the Texas Stars, right, Greeny? Big week coming up.
It is, and they're right in front of us. So, this is a time to, catch up to them. And, we don't want to finish 5th. The top 5 teams in the division do make the playoffs, which is fine. But if you finish 5th, you have to go play a best of 3 series all on the road just to keep moving forward. So I would rather not finish 5th. 4th or better is what I'm aiming for. And hopefully we can start that this week.
Definitely. You guys are going to be 9 of the next 10 at home. You guys are going to be busy there at Panther Arena, especially this week. You got 3 coming up, and it's highlighted by another concert. I got to say, I was at the Low Cash concert a couple of weeks ago, and they crushed it. You guys crushed it. The system you guys have for that, to get that stage on the ice as quick as you guys do, is awesome. And they put on a great show, and you guys did a great job with that. And it'll be another fun one, I'm sure, on Saturday.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying that. Our team works really hard to put those shows on. And 25 minutes after the last whistle of that game that night, stage was set. Fans that had ice passes were on the ice, and off Low Cash went, and they really did do a nice job. They were a lot of fun to work with. And next show coming up this Saturday with the Gin Blossoms. So it's 90s night, and so many hit songs out of the Gin Blossoms. I think this is really going to be a lot of fun. Still tickets available, still some ice passes available for that. So hopefully people come out on Saturday for that one. Game is at 6. So my guess is Gin Blossoms hit the stage right around 9 o'clock if the game goes according to the schedule that I hope it will go on. But I think we've had some long ones this year. So I'm all for playing one that's a little shorter this time around. But before that, game tonight with Texas at 7 o'clock, and then Friday night at 7 o'clock also with Texas. So just a lot going on.
A lot going on, a lot of games, and I'll be there tonight, Friday and Saturday as well. And tonight is winter games night, so celebrating the Olympics. And Greeny, I thought about it when we were talking about the local ratings, the local market ratings for NBC, and Milwaukee right is always up there, and Milwaukee right again in the top 3 of markets that are watching the Winter Olympics. So we love winter sports. We love winter games up here, and hockey obviously is the crown jewel of all of that. So are the boys pretty excited in the locker room about these Olympic hockey games going on? I'm sure there's a lot of trash talking going on between the U.S. guys, the Canadian guys, and all across the other globe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's certainly some chirping going on, and it's all good fun. Certainly, U.S. and Sweden. So right. we got Swedes here, and it's kind of fun. I think for those guys that the games are during the day, so they don't really necessarily have to go right up against where we might be playing. You might work into their afternoon nap on a game day, but U.S. and Sweden should be a lot of fun. And tomorrow with U.S. and Canada. With the women's game will be very exciting.
Greeny, as you've seen the sport continue to blossom, we talked to Chris Vosters earlier in the week, who's calling it for NBC. Like, it's always been a market that enjoys hockey, and you guys get to see it on a night in and night out basis. And folks that come out to the arena get to enjoy that kind of high level hockey. But I asked Chris, and I'd ask you, who's seen it now for so many years, is it just getting better every year? Like the talent level, the athleticism, the precision in which these guys are able to snipe their shots from seemingly anywhere inside the offensive zone. Like, it just feels like the game continues to get so much better that right now it's in a spot where it really feels like it's going to take another evolution in the winter sports variety of every single person's viewing habits.
I think so. I mean, I think the skill level is at an all-time high, and I do agree with you. I think it keeps getting better. I think kids are getting started at an early age here, and the growth of hockey within just even here in southeastern Wisconsin is really, really high. Both boys and girls. Mm-hmm. So everybody I think watches these Olympic games, but here in Wisconsin, we're blessed to have unbelievable hockey in this state besides what we do. Obviously what goes on in Madison with the Badgers, men and women, but the Division III level of hockey in this state is exceptional. We've had a lot of national championship teams coming out of this state, and everybody wants to be able to play on these teams, and they see opportunities, and I think that's why so many people are playing now, and why the American development model of hockey, which comes from USA Hockey, has helped to really put kids in a better position to learn how to play the game, and not it's not just one kid out there dominating. It's now everybody's learning how to actually play.
Yes, it's not like in one of my favorite young movies, Kicking and Screaming. After they get the kids, they're like, pass it to the Italians. It's not just the get it to the good kid and everybody else get out of the way. The talent development is pretty impressive. And Greeny, it does feel like, I know maybe this isn't rocket science, but it feels like once young players and young kids are developing, that's how this grows. And as a youth in my time, when the sport really wasn't covered by the four-letter network like it seemingly is now, because they also have rights in the NHL, like, it just also feels like the accessibility to the game has never really been higher. Is that fair to say too?
I do. I think that is fair to say. I think, yes, ESPN absolutely helps. TNT has been an enormous help with hockey. Yeah. They obviously cut their teeth with basketball, and the NHL smartly went to TNT and said, do the same thing. And I think that's been very, very popular. The attendance in our league is going to be at an all-time high at the end of the season. People are coming out to watch this, not just for the entertainment of what we all as 32 different teams try to put on every night, but to come see these guys play, and watching our guys go work with youth hockey kids during the course of the year, or when we try to bring in kids from the Boys and Girls Club who may never have an opportunity to do this in their lives, and we try to get them out there and teach them how to play, and our players are part of that. I think there's some role model stuff going on with kids looking up to our players, looking up to players in our league, and then when they make it to the NHL, they've got a fan base that has watched them since they really were getting started.
Speaking of viewing hockey, yeah, absolutely. A couple days ago, NBC released their so far the viewership numbers and across the markets across the United States. Fort Myers first, Minneapolis second, and then Milwaukee third. I mean, there is just an appetite for these winter sports, which makes sense. Obviously, the climate, we all know the climate here in the winter, but there is just not only an appetite to play them but also watch them and just enjoy them as entertainment, as you guys see with the Admirals at every home game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think every 4 years we all get locked into curling. We all,
sure.
we get locked into some things that maybe we don't get to see every day. But yeah, the headlining things, the figure skating, the downhill skiing, and the hockey, those are always kind of the high level sports that people really want to watch. And here with the speed skating as well, with Jordan Stoltz, what he's done, and it's just really exciting to be a Wisconsinite and know that these people are coming from our state, and so many Badger women playing in the gold medal game tomorrow will be great for our state. So, Wisconsin's really good for producing Olympic athletes, and we like to watch them.
At what point during a young skater's development do you think they make the decision to go to speed skating or hockey? And how many speed skaters want to be hockey players and vice versa, Greeny? I've always thought about these things. It just things on my mind.
Yeah. I don't know. My daughter played hockey for 10 years, and she's like, "You think I ever should have done speed skating?" And I said,
there you go.
"Well, you probably wouldn't have fallen on your head as much." So I think maybe that would have been a little bit better for you. But it's it is a different sport. But those skates are so much different, and you're racing against the clock, which is incredible. But they showed Jordan Stoltz warming up on his exercise bike the other day, and I think AJ Dillon has competition in the quadzilla category.
Oh yeah, he's
unbelievable.
He's a specimen indeed. Well, I know it's a weird. Thanks for indulging me in just my random thoughts that I have throughout the day. But
I'm just surprised it wasn't a Gin Blossoms thought.
No,
Greeny,
it's
I
gonna
mean,
be. It's
this
gonna
dude
be.
is just so excited for Saturday night. So just know you guys hit an absolute home run with the booking of it. The execution is going to be phenomenal because Armen,
I can't wait.
He's
I
been
love the Gin
excited for a
Blossoms.
lot of things in his life, right? Getting married, birth of his daughter, this Gin Blossom show. He
Right.
damn near canceled the vacation to be here. So he's very, very excited for Saturday night.
Well, I hope your enthusiasm goes to everybody else who's coming out, because it's really going to be a fun night.
I'm sure it will.
I hope that people come out, and I would really encourage people to go to our website and check out all the promotions that are coming up this week. We've got a ton of giveaways, ticket specials, and obviously the concert coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible weekend of great local entertainment and great live hockey action with the Milwaukee Admirals. So super excited for this weekend coming up, Greeny. And we'll see you tonight.
Absolutely. We'll see you there.
Greeny, appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. President of the Milwaukee Admirals, Jon Greenberg, hanging out with us here on the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Armen, I mean, it's finally here.
It's finally here. We're getting closer and closer to seeing the boys, and this will be my 5th Gin Blossoms concert, but the other 4 were all at Summerfest. So I'm excited to see him on the ice.
Cooler venue here.
Yeah, it is fun to have an ice pass. Hey, he mentioned it. Get your tickets. There's some available, but the ice passes are awesome too, because that really gives you that close and intimate experience with the Gin Blossoms.
Wow.
So
Look at you getting the ice pass.
Wow. I mean, Billy, I kind of have carte blanche for that whole building. They don't tell me to not go anywhere.
I was going to say, you're there the next 3 nights. My God, you're going to get your mail sent there. Let's ride.
I might be giving the pregame speech to the guys, in the dressing room. I'm not sure.
I think you should on Saturday.
You might get to read the lineup card. You very much might get to read the lineup card. That's going to be awesome.
One day.
Yeah, if you don't get ice passes for the Gin Blossoms concert, you're going to be having a lot of jealousy.
Oh, don't worry. I got multiple outfits, mustache. Oh, I almost let that pass. Oh my gosh, that was amazing, Hunter. Good work.
My work is done for the day.
Follow me.
No, it's not. One
more segment. When you're up in the stands, follow me down to the ice. All right.
All right.
That's good. Song. Yeah. You got it.
Man, I am so excited for so many more Gin Blossoms innuendos that we're about to get on Friday, because the excitement level is going to be through the roof. All right, we got one more segment here. We got our Wake and Bake story of the day, and a good one to be able to end on. However, with a little Badger twist, you thought it was wild seeing a head coach in college football leave to be a coordinator in the NFL. Wait for the one that a former Badger assistant is pulling now. We'll give it to you next on the other side. It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Time now to hang out with our friends from Happy Place Hemp and HappyPlaceHemp.com. Wake and bake story of the day presented by HappyPlaceHemp.com. Use promo code HUDDLE for 25% off and free shipping. Not just 25% off like you used to get with all our old promo codes. HUDDLE, 25% off and free shipping. All of their products at HappyPlaceHemp.com. Rob and Chris do a sensational job with their products. It's all locally made, locally produced, locally shipped. So shop local for everything else. Do it as well for your hemp-related products. Don't walk up to some gas station and grab some. Why on earth would you do that? Go to HappyPlaceHemp.com. Ship right to your door. How easy is that? Now, let's be honest. Probably the best story for our Happy Place Hemp Wake and Bake story of the day would be what happened with Tony Clark yesterday in the MLB Players Association. Like,
no doubt.
How brazen can we get? Like, that is now my question is, how boldly do we think that we can just get away with nonsense in the workplace? But again, that's neither here nor there. That's a sad situation because, again, there's now two families that are going to be broken up with this whole situation. And let's be honest, Christmases are just going to be so weird. I can't even imagine what that family reunion is going to be like, let alone we got Easter coming up. That's good. That's going to be a tough one. But how about this, guys? For a little bit of a wake and bake, did you ever think that you would see a head coach in college football leave his current post to be a position coach? Well, that's what former Badger assistant Thomas Hammock is doing now. He was the Northern Illinois head coach. He has now accepted a job to become the running back coach and senior offensive assistant with the Seattle Seahawks. He becomes the highest paid running back coach in the NFL, left with multiple NFL opportunities.
Wow.
So we thought Jeff Hafley was crazy for leaving, or that it was going to be the start of something, Armen, with a head coach to go be a coordinator. Thomas Hammock said, I'm done negotiating with 16-year-olds. I'll be a running back coach, and I'll run guys through bags before I do another year of this NIL stuff.
You said it. Maybe he was just disenfranchised with a college experience. So how about that?
That's a wild one. Thomas Hammock, former assistant head coach, running back coach for the Badgers. Awesome one. Guys, thank you so much for all your help throughout the last couple of days. Hunter and Armen are going to be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday. Hunter, great work in for Drew Olson. Armen's right there. I'm Billy. It's been the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin.